Well, I think we're live.
I
I think we're.
think.
It says we're alive, but you know what I mean. Like, hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the NDA podcast. We're having a jerktacular night. I aptly named the episode, right, Roman?
I fucking amen to that, dude.
We're having all kinds of weird technical issues I've never seen before. Like, I don't even want to get into it, folks. It just took me like an hour. It's like I got deadlines, dude. I keep farting around and stuff. Anyways, so this is the NDA podcast. This is where I supposedly work on things I can't stream, but behind me will play art that I've streamed in the past. Tonight I'm going to be playing the time I did a color pencil commission for your buddy right here, Roman Uncle Jerk himself, joining us from Jerk Comics. What's up, my dude?
Same shit, different. PVJ. Feeling like a human being today. That's
Awesome.
sick as fuck.
I'm going to hit play here, so it will start playing.
I'm super excited I didn't get to watch you do all of this, and now that we'll have it all logged, I can get back on here later and check it all out.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
I fucking sit and stare at this piece so much, guys. Seriously, the piece that he's playing in the background, one of my favorite fucking pieces of art ever.
I'm gonna check YouTube to make sure we're good there. Now we're not some giant green error screen because we've had that in the past. I can't just start a show, folks, and talk to you. I have to like check every stupid thing to make certain everything's working the way it should.
The joys of technology.
Because nothing can be trusted to actually work. All right, we're going live. Okay, we're there.
We're on. They can see us. Well, shit.
I'm gonna leave open Roman's Twitch right now. You're streaming on Twitch under Jerk Comic, right? So if people want to see what you're up to, they can go there.
Yeah. If you guys want to see what I'm drawing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles piece right now, and you can. It's just Jerk Comic. I'm on Twitch. Hang out there quite a bit. But told Rob I was gonna do this, and I was like, well, I got free about 9 o'clock, and I was like, I could log on my screen.
I know. That whole hour I wanted to like not like delay. I could have just gone and done my exercise. I mean, whatever. Well, it's just one of those things. It's like I was telling like Roman earlier. I'm like, there are times I disappear for a month because I just can't risk. And right now I'm on the very edge. If I have this issue one more time, you will not see me stream until I'm done. I will not do this again. You know, this happens one more time, no streaming for another month or so. You know.
Well, everybody write fucking StreamYard a message and tell them to knock this shit off.
I don't know if it's StreamYard or if it's Edge because it seemed to work in Chrome, but I hate using Chrome for StreamYard because it's a giant CPU hog.
Yeah.
You know? So like I've never had this issue ever. I've been using StreamYard consistently for 4 or 5 years now. I've never seen an issue when I'm ready to go live, it says error, try again later. And then when I try to delete the video, it goes error, try again later. I'm like, I can't even delete it, you know?
It's because I'm on here.
I was only when I was able to go through Chrome, I started the stream and ended it, you know. I was able to like then delete that. So I don't know. I think it might be an Edge issue of some sort.
Well, I know I'm edgy, but we don't have to call me the Edge, bro.
Yeah, you are an edgelord, dude. There's no doubt.
You know me.
We get you talking about the MCU movies. It's not gonna go good.
Oh my god, no. And I just like fucking got done watching like What If the other day, and I was like, you know,
I like What If. You're telling me if that cartoon come on in the 90s, you would have complained?
Come
on, man.
Complain is not
given the Hanna-Barbera cartoons and Super Friends and all the other nonsense we got. It's a solid cartoon. It's its own thing. I don't know. You really, I would dare Marvel to adapt every issue of their comic from the 90s and see how well that would go. You know, how many Tom DeFalco Spider-Mans do you really want to see animated on TV, dude? You know?
Nah, my thing is, and admittedly, I know I'm one of about 3 guys on the planet. That was my series. What If is my second favorite series of all time. It is the only like series over maybe like 50 issues that I have all my floppies.
Yeah, but it's not an adaptation of the
I know
comic.
it's not. I know it's
They
not.
got an
I
excellent narrator.
know
It's a
it's not.
fun
Yes, they
story that
did.
weaves. They got really fun stories in there. The
No, they
animation
did
is
not.
okay. You're
No,
such a high standards guy. You
I'm
know?
not. I'm really not.
If
Like,
Roger Corman did a cartoon that was really bad, you'd give it a giant pass, though, right?
I probably would.
Yeah. Hey, when we were talking about the Fantastic Four, the Corman one, you said
Oh,
that the Thing was a refurbished Donatello head. Did I get that right, or did I remember that
I
wrong?
believe it's Donatello. Yeah, during a production of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they had like major animatronics problems, man. Like, I mean, major animatronics problems. And one of the big things that happened was the face malfunction because they work on radio puppeteering, you know?
Sure.
And so, like, the mouth just went wiggy wonky. And if you remember the weird, like, rolling way that their lips move, they kind of look almost like a wave in part one.
Yeah.
And, like, it just constantly did that. So if you watch the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie, every time the Thing talks, he looks like a really bad dub from a Japanese movie. They're like,
Yeah.
and then he'll start talking. And
Hilarious.
his whole face is like contorted in these really weird shapes the whole time because they just built prosthetics over the top of the latex animatronics.
Yeah, because at first I thought the way I remembered it was that they had repurposed the Thing head, but then I'm like, nobody would repurpose that fucking head. That's not that way. It had to work the other way around. And then I remembered, no, that was a repurposed Donatello, which made far more sense.
Yeah, it was just another one of their cost saving methods. I mean, I don't know how much anybody knows about that movie, but it's kind of a hot spot for me.
I know. You're a big fan of the Tinkerer, right? Like,
Well, like my big thing with that movie
okay,
is
lay it out.
that Roger Corman, Avi Arad, and Stan Lee lied to everyone in the production. From Sassoon, who directed it, all the way to the guys that were shooting it. They lied. And normally, I suppose maybe I could abide that because it's Hollywood and that stuff happens.
Right.
But they lied about it not being produced for release. The big fucking problem there is.
Well, they didn't want to get sued.
What's up?
They didn't want to get sued, right?
Mm-mm. No, absolutely not. The guy who made that is the guy who made the Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. Same producer, same
It's Avi
owner
Arad.
of.
Yeah, it's Avi Arad.
No. He's
Oh,
got a
okay.
partner.
I've got a partner.
So the whole thing behind the 94 Fantastic Four film. In 1978, Stan Lee sold the rights to the Galactus trilogy, minus the Fantastic Four, to Olivia Newton-John's husband. That shit kicked around for years. Nobody could figure out why the Fantastic Four weren't in it. Well, it turns out that he had parted them out for cartoons. Once the licensing for that let up, it was like 84, 85. Stanley is going berserk.
Hold on. Before we get into that, can I just say, who the fuck pays for the Galactus story without the Fantastic Four? Like, I've seen this shit before. No, I'll tell you how I've seen this happen many times in like t-shirts where some sales rep comes across and goes, "Man, we got a great deal on a license package." I'm like, "Really?" Like, "Yeah, man, we got this actually happened there. We got Blues Brothers, we got Cheers, we got like all these NBC kind of like Universal whatever set, the Lorne Michaels stuff, right?
Mhm.
They got all this NBC slash, but check it out.
But we
We
can't
can't
use
use
any of the
any.
characters.
We can't use the likenesses. We can't use the hat, the tie, the glasses. We can just use the logo,
Oh,
And I'm like, look, maybe Cheers, right? But Blues Brothers, like, that's crazy. Hey, Shelby's in the comments. That's Uncle Jerk, Shelby from Jerk Comics. Roman.
what's going
Yeah, he
on,
does
Shelby?
all the cool documentaries on like Sam Keith and Rob Schrab and Too Much Coffee Man and Steve Ditko. Yeah.
Yep, that's me. And the guy who's been whining about you getting credit too.
Yeah, we've been complaining about you not getting credit.
I have been
I got
publicly fucking raising a shitstorm about that, FYI.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But I just want to say, so like I'm used to like, well, you got a great deal, but what the frick are we gonna do with this? We one time got a package for all of the Adam Sandler movies, like Waterboy and what was the one from the 90s? Like
Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison.
Happy Gilmore, but we weren't allowed to use Adam Sandler or any Adam Sandler quotes, just like Chappie, you know.
What the?
Yeah. But they're like, we only paid 10 grand. I'm like, could you just give me the 10 grand? I'll make you more than 10 grand. Just give us a bonus.
You paid 10 grand for nothing.
So how does Olivia Newton-John's husband get the Galactus stories without the Fantastic Four, and why would he do that? Like,
so he's good friends with Stan Lee, because Stan's like hobnobbing at that point. So why he did it, I don't think anyone other than he will ever know. He was a comic fan, but like, I think basically it came down to Stan basically telling him, look, we've got Jack Kirby back at Marvel, probably for the last time, because this is after he left to go do his Fourth World and all of that shit, right? So he comes back to Marvel, and Stan is desperate to find a project that Jack will work with him on, because Jack vehemently refused to work with him when he came back, like under any fucking circumstances. So Stan comes up with, he manages to sell the Galactus trilogy, but the Fantastic Four are all tied up in two different cartoons at that time, and that's why you ended up with Herbie instead of the Human Torch, like in the Fantastic Four cartoon show. So the Fantastic Four are kicking around nebulously for years and years, and like this, I could really get into that, the story with like Stan and Jack and the Silver Surfer and shit, but that's kind of I did cover that in one of my documentaries. It's in the Lord of Light doc if you want to know about it. They didn't put any credits for Jack Kirby in the book, even though he wrote it and drew it. They tried to cut him out of movie rights, and it was
you're not getting credit, right? Like,
yeah. And so it was. It turned out that Stan wasn't even responsible for the credits. Like, he's not the one who left him out. Cadence Industries didn't even know who the fuck Jack Kirby was, and they wanted to leave him out because it's this, by the way, it's the Silver Surfer graphic novel from 1978, 79, right around there, that I'm talking about, because it got turned into a comic book, by the way. And it is the Galactus trilogy without the Fantastic Four. And it is fucking abysmal.
Who saved the Earth?
Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer.
It's basically
right.
like have you read Parable?
Nah, man. I'm not that into 70s Marvel. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are.
No, it's not even 70s. It's 80s.
Oh, okay.
It's it was Mobius and Stan Lee when they did their story together. When they kind of like suckered Mobius into doing comics for like 6 months there.
That's when he did all those like pinups and stuff, right?
It is, and then he did. I think
Because
it's
I
two
tried
of
to
his.
get those pinups on shirts like 10 years ago, and Marvel threw a fit over it.
It. Yes, Mobius and them did not apparently have the best working relationship. Mobius shit all over them in
Apparently, they still hold a grudge since
Yeah,
2014. You know,
Mobius was really rough on them and DC, very admittedly. So anyway, Fantastic Four movie. So this shit's kicking around, and nobody even knows where the rights to the Fantastic Four are. And Stan finally manages to consolidate them. And he thought that the only way for Marvel Comics and those characters to continue to survive was through adaptation. So he was basically selling them for next to nothing. I believe they paid like $10,000 to license the Fantastic Four. But for anybody who doesn't know the way that when you license something, it only lasts for so long. You only have the license for whatever, 4 years, right? Well, you got to make a movie in 4 years. But
sometimes there's guarantees. Sometimes there's guarantees. Like they owe, you have to owe. They're guaranteed $1 million a year, regardless of what sometimes.
Exactly. That's not the case here with Marvel because they're giving their rights away. And that's actually kind of the crux of the story. So Stan is literally just giving and giving and get. I mean, this is how Sony ends up with Spider-Man and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and we're in this whole muddled mess when the MCU started. And a guy I believe he was like Belgian, might have been like French, something like that, ends up with the rights for like
Poirot. Hercule Poirot ends up with the rights to the Fantastic Four, right?
It's just some rando dude.
Okay.
Like 10 grand. And he's got, I think he had like 6 years to make the movie. But this guy wants to do the Fantastic Four right. So in his head, he's got all these big special effects and this and that and da 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 da.
He just seen Jurassic Park or some shit. Like
I legitimately, he was envisioning the first Fantastic Four film, but the special effects weren't there.
Okay, right.
The Fantastic Four and then Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
like that's literally what he had in mind, but it's like 1992.
Right.
And
James Cameron's still working on that Spider-Man script,
And so they decide that like what I think they need like whatever it is, $250 million to make the movie.
He's in 92 money?
Yeah. A lot.
Like a $400 million film, essentially.
So
mind you, Terminator 2 had just come out, was $100 million film. So it's pretty wild.
Well, he wanted to do like they were going to utilize a bunch of the special effects from Terminator 2 for Johnny Storm originally. You
can only imagine what combustion. Well, we saw what combustion CGI looked like with the Corman film, but I mean, even ILM fire wasn't really something they got down.
No,
honestly, dude, what was it? I read a whole in Cinefex on the first Avatar film.
Oh yeah,
ILM was brought in on fire, and Weta had worked a bunch of stuff out, but due to trademark or patents, they couldn't share it with them. And so like they had their own custom fire, so they had to rebuild their entire fire, CGI fire stuff to match what they had already worked out. And they still didn't, so you're talking they didn't really have fire figured out until 2007. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like the same thing with water. Like Weta is the ones that cracked water, but it took them a long time.
Really, to weigh a water. I mean, like they actually open sourced a lot of it because of they worked on open sourcing when they developed that, so that people could. It was because of that fire technique.
Did they?
Open source. Yeah.
That's cool
because they wanted to make sure that all that stuff's open source. The way they refracted water and the way water would change, like depending on moving the camera in and out. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff they open source that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I am not those are like the most boring movies ever to me. But the like some of the stuff they accomplished with special effects is pretty impressive. Like,
and whereas I'm like, this is the realization of Edgar Rice Burroughs on the big screen finally. So we have two minds on this. Okay, so he wants to make a $250 million
oh yeah,
Fantastic Four film in 1992, and somehow it ends up at Roger Corman's studio for $250, right?
So he's like, he goes to Marvel and he's like, I don't want to do like a jokey bullshit version of the Fantastic Four. I won't do it. I'm a fan of the series. I want to do it right. I'm gonna I just need, like, I think he said like 4 more years to get financing together. And Marvel was like, no, you can relicense it. And he's like, okay, well, I can relicense it for $10,000 or whatever. And they're like, no. See, now we're starting to sell stuff to like Fox and that kind of stuff. No, see, it's gonna be, I think it was like $3 million. This is gonna be the new price. Couple $1 million, say $2-3 million. And so this producer like knows.
Hey, Steven, that was ILM who did the pirate CGI, but fire was still a compositing technique at that time. Like they were doing it in compositing. In Avatar, it was actually volumetric fire, and it would react the way. It's very complex. You can really see it. The shot they work on specifically is, remember when Quaritch gets on that mech, ties himself in, runs out the ship, lands, and it crashes behind him and explodes. That whole bit, was all built around that particular sequence. So, but yeah, ILM primarily did. It was, there's always different effects houses like Digital Domain, but the bulk of Pirates was in-house at ILM. So anyway, so now they're charging, the rate's gone up to $3 million because, this is when like was this like the Toy Biz era, or this is like them getting ready to sell? They bought Toy Biz first, and then Toy Biz eventually bought them, right?
Exactly.
As I remember, right?
Yep. And so he is a European, and those guys just think outside of the box. And he's like, okay, licensing rights is $3 million. What if I called Roger Corman and had him make a Fantastic Four movie for $1 million? And I could keep my licensing rights, and we can release the movie, and I can take whatever money I make off of that, and we'll put it into this really serious version of the Fantastic Four that I want to do.
See, now here's what I don't understand about that theory. Because even in the 1990s, if you screwed something up, you weren't getting a second chance. Like if they screwed up Batman, they weren't going to make another Batman sequel just to show they could do it.
Well, but he would have still owned the rights.
He would have still owned the rights.
Yeah,
How is he planning on getting? Do you have any idea how he was planning on getting financing with the direct to DVD or direct to video nonsense film? Like how did he?
So
I'd love to know the theory on that. like how is he going to secure money if it already bombs? Like, whatever.
Well, see, he was gonna that hadn't entered his mind. Yes.
right.
Okay. He just knew that like, instead of for $3 million to relicense it, he could pay $2 million and make a movie and keep the licensing because of the way that it was worked out. Because if he made the movie, then he could hold on to the license for another, I think it was 6 years. Okay. He had like, once he made the part 1, then he had 6 years to make part 2. So I think probably his initial mindset was like, it doesn't matter how bad this bombs. It's going to take me years to put together the second part.
By the time people forget, I'll be able to do this all over again.
But he goes to Roger Corman, and like Roger Corman is like essentially tells him the same thing. Like, look, man, I get what you're saying, But you need to understand that if you put this movie out, you're effectively killing any chance to make a serious version of this film. Like, and especially with your name attached to it, people are instantly going to just jump right back to this piece of shit.
So Corman set him straight.
Yeah. And the producer decided, well, we have to make the movie because it's less expensive. I don't have the $3 million, but I do have the $2 million. We will just make this movie and then we will literally tell no one about it and shelve it. And
so the producer came up with this, not Corman.
This is the producer talking.
Right.
And he paid Roger Corman a reported $250,000 of that money directly to Roger Corman.
Shut up.
To shut the fuck up.
Right.
To make that movie and to not tell a single person on that set that that movie wasn't coming out. That it was never made for production, like, or for release. That there was just, this was not even a direct to DVD thing. This is a rights thing. They didn't tell anybody this. They didn't tell Ali Sassoon, who directed it. They didn't tell anybody.
How is this not a movie?
Well, like, if you listen to interviews with those guys, they will straight tell you, like, we knew it was a bullshit movie when we got onto it, but Marvel Comics were so big that we just knew that if there was a comic book movie out there, people would go to see it. And most of these guys are like television actors and fucking coming off of soap operas and
if
shit.
He was really clever, he would have licensed the story of all this scam as a movie too. You know what I mean? Like, he would have. You know, does the Fantastic Four rights include a movie about making this shitty movie? Like
I don't know,
wonder.
but there is a good doc out about it now, thankfully.
Right, but imagine if, like, he did all this just so he. You remember, like, when Joaquin Phoenix was doing like stunt. What do you call that? Where they
doing the weird appearances for his documentary that came out that was like by Casey Affleck.
Like, what if they had shot all this? He had documented it, and then the real goal was to sell.
That would have been,
oh man, right?
That would have been sheer brilliance.
Right.
But like,
apparently not that big a chess player, this guy. Like,
yeah, and like normally it's Hollywood, so I really wouldn't like get my panties in a big ruffle about much of any of that, except for the fact that, like I said, these guys are coming off of really shitty acting gigs, right? And they've got a lot banking on this movie. Like
the actors.
Yeah, their careers, man.
Like Jay Garrick or
yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
I can't even remember, dude. It's so
I know.
I love those.
It was like Superboy. And I was like, yeah, that kid. You know, like,
and it's like, okay, we know we're in a really bad movie, but it's a Marvel movie. And we're going to get some play out of this, like Dolph Lundgren did out of The Punisher, because that's what several of the guys said. They were like, we even remember when fucking Dolph Lundgren got a new, you know, kind of lease on his career because of The Punisher. I'm like, okay. Well, part of the way into production, it's decided by Avi Arad that literally they're not just not making this movie for production, that literally no one will ever be allowed to see this movie. At the, like, when things wrapped up, Avi Arad literally paid to have all of the negatives to that movie burnt in a funeral pyre down in Mexico so that no one could ever even bootleg it.
It's like right next where they buried all the ET cards, all right?
Well, yeah, except for they fucking burnt this shit because they were like, no one's digging it up. Because if you remember, they dug up those ET fucking cartridges about 10 years ago. They found that.
Oh, right.
Right.
I always thought that would have been a nice Easter egg in Breaking Bad if they went to dump a body and it was right next to all the ET cards. Like, what is yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Vince Gilligan's enough of a nerd to get that joke, Like,
yes, he is. But the big thing is they didn't tell any of the actors. The actors got a lot banking on this shit, right? The movie gets announced at San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah,
I saw the Thing outfit at Comic-Con. I want to say 93.
Yeah.
The 93 con. They had it there. Like,
and if you remember,
not as tall as you'd think it was. It's kind of short. It is.
And if you remember, if you were there was promotional material for the film.
Yeah, they had it was right at the front when you walk in on one of the entrances on the far left. There was no hall. It was the original hall before they extended the convention center. And it was right when you walked in, it'd be on your right. And they had like a corner booth that was there. And then the TV played this like promotional trailer, sizzle reel thing or whatever.
Yep. And there would have been a collection of headshots that were there as well as a little pamphlet that told you about the film.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Rob, studio didn't make those. The actors did.
Oh, the actors made those.
They paid for them because production kept unknowingly lying to them. Well, we don't have a date yet, so we can't make promotional stuff. But you guys are going to be out at San Diego Comic-Con. So these broke-ass actors that are TV actors, fucking soap opera actors and shit, got so much banking on this fucking movie. They literally paid out of pocket for that stuff.
Poor guys.
It's a very egregious.
Even Dolph Lundgren got his Punisher movie released. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm saying, man, like I get making the movie to keep the rights. It's kind of a clever thing. Really, truly, and honestly, it is. Not telling your fucking actors and knowing that they're spending their own money and shit on that don't sit right with me.
Yeah, they should have just cast her like their best friends. I mean, at that point, you know what I mean? Like,
but they didn't know. Even Ollie Sassoon, the guy directing the movie, didn't know it wasn't coming out.
Oh, okay. No relation to Vidal?
No.
Come on. It's a 90s joke, right?
Oh, yes, it is.
He had to have gotten that all the time back in the day.
He fucking did. He was not. Let me say he was not amused when I made that joke to him. Because I met him. And we ran like a little, as I said, Avi Arad literally paid to have all of the negatives of that movie burnt. And I ran a restoration. Well, I didn't run it. I helped with a restoration project for the Fantastic Four film. And
the fan thing, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's called the Ultimate Fantastic Four box. Right. It's a 2 DVD set. And we found out that the processing company that had done the film actually had a surviving 2-inch negative, 2-inch master tape. So we got that. And we got a nice, it was the uncropped, so it's the full screen and the widescreen versions of the movies. And we actually went out and paid Roger Corman at a convention $150 to just sit and record a commentary for it. So it's even got a commentary track.
Are any of those actors still alive?
All of them.
They're all alive?
All of them.
Marvel should put them somewhere in the new movie, right?
I have been very upset at their continued dismissal. In my opinion, I don't give a shit what anybody says.
I mean, it is a multiverse, right? Like,
Goddamn Skippy it is. And on top of that, it's the best Doom that we've gotten.
okay, well, just chill out on that one. Like that's
Nope.
that's like saying the best King Tut we got was in 1969. Like, yeah, it was, but yeah.
But I'm just saying, like,
technically, the best Mr. Freeze in live action we've got was in 1969, but that ain't saying much either, you know.
He's not that bad.
You know, yeah, okay. Look, unlike your documentaries, I am here to just bring reality a little bit closer to home on some of this stuff, right? Like, you are correct, but there's always an asterisk here, all right? So it's a very cute costume, but let's be honest, all right? Let's be honest. It would have been a fantastic costume on ABC television, but yeah,
which is the like the budget they had. So
right. I mean, yeah, right.
yeah,
What do
so
you?
that's
I mean, let's be honest. We'd rather sit through that film than that live action Gen X TV movie they made in '96, right? Like,
sweet mother of
remember
God.
that one?
Oh,
If you could
dude.
call, I mean, it's not really Gen X. I mean, whatever that is, you know. But yeah.
Yes, I remember that. I remember when all of those movies were coming out because I also remember being like really weirded out how good Nick Fury was.
All right. Well, I don't know about that one. As an episode of Baywatch, maybe, but you know, it is what it is. It's goofy.
Oh, it's super fucking goofy. But man, like when you compare it to especially like stuff like fucking Gen X, like I mean, whatever. You can pick it apart and tear it up. It's not like I'm not trying to make it out to be like a great
Well,
film,
I remember
but
no, I remember when Hasselhoff was at Cannes that year because I bumped into him. He was with his wife, who I was enamored with. I was like, man, she's pretty, and a German. And he was giving some interview in the middle of the floor about the film, you know.
dude,
And I was like,
he looks exactly like him, man.
oh, he does look like the Jim Lee. Yeah, he does. He looks like the Jim Lee, Nick Fury for certain. Steranko, you know, the classic Steranko. But yeah, I mean, like tonally. Look, I'm an apologist on some things with Marvel around that time. Like the Punisher movie, if he had just worn the skull, would have been a 10 times better film, right? You're just like, why can't he wear the skull? I don't get what the issue is with that, you know? Like, why are they not doing that? It's in the movie. He's on the knives. It's in the logo. Why is he not wearing the skull? It's the strangest thing, right?
Yes, it is. I've legit never been able to find an answer to that.
Who doesn't look cool with this? I mean, you know what I mean? Skull shirt, like it's like the easiest costume ever, right?
You would assume
in a skull shirt, like they're like, no.
Instead, we'll have Dolph Lundgren naked in the sewers. That's much cooler, guys.
Hey, man, it's got Louis Gossett Jr.
I unapologetically also dig this shit out of that Punisher movie. I would love to see Dolph Lundgren show up as an alternate reality Punisher.
I was hoping when they mentioned the Punisher and Wolverine that there was a chance, like maybe he'll be in the movie, you know? Like it's just his right kind of batshit crazy to pull off, you know? But that film is way better than, you know, like the Captain America film and stuff like that, you know?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
Man.
So,
yeah,
so these actors, when the movie gets shelved, what do? No class action lawsuit, no.
They couldn't do anything. I mean, like Ollie Sassoon had been lied to, so he wasn't lying to them. Roger Corman was the only guy.
The Guild doesn't have any issues with this, like.
As far as I know, it was non-Guild.
Non-Guild movie.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Corman, right?
Yeah, that's why they hired a bunch of people off of fucking TV and that kind of shit, so they could just, you know, shit all over them.
Right. No.
But I know there was no suit. They couldn't. They never made any of that shit stick. And mostly those actors, I don't think really had the money either.
Right.
But
There you go.
sad story, in my opinion. Shows you.
Well, William Walker says, "Sorry guys, I thought the Chinese market would allow skulls in their movies, and Marvel didn't want to risk not being able to show in that market." William, this is 1989. They weren't showing this movie in the Chinese market. This is the Berlin Wall was still up when the Punisher came out. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that got nothing to do with it. Like, this is 1989, man.
And I still don't think
That's
that.
not why they changed the Taskmaster, guys. All right.
No.
Crossbones had a skull on him, man. I worked on that Civil War package, dude. You know, that's got nothing. No, you guys are nuts. Like, the Taskmaster changed the way they did because they decided to do that. You know, Marvel, for better or for worse, doesn't place their villains in the same category as their heroes. The MCU studios, they just don't. So they're willing to readapt any of them if it fits whatever story they want to go with. So, yeah, but we did plenty of skull shirts with Crossbones, and we sold plenty of skull shirts from 2003 all the way on up through Marvel, whether it was classic or anything else. Those got moved to China and everywhere else. So, no, that's got nothing to do with it. You know. Yeah. I mean, when Punisher Warzone came out, we sold those shirts. That was the only thing that sold from that damn movie. And then they got so mad, Roman, because they owed a because it was like a skull made from the bullet shells, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was the Warzone logo, and that was the specific one Hot Topic wanted, and Hot Topic paid good money and for exclusives, but they would have. We owed extra licensing fees or percentages to for the studio on that one. And they were like, we got to find a way around this. And Hot Topic was like, look, you either give us the shirt or we're going to pull all your tees off our wall, you know?
Oh shit.
Yeah. So they had to cave in. Yeah, no, none of that's true, guys. You guys don't listen to those YouTube channels, all right? All right, you guys gotta stop with the YouTube channels that are telling you how stuff works. All right, it just doesn't. So, anyway, but look, as for a TV movie, yeah, you know, like it's fine. You know, like I think what sucks about Hasselhoff is he could have been directed in a more serious way, right? Like,
yeah,
he had it in him, and he seemed into it when we were at. He wasn't joking about it when we were at Comic-Con.
Dude, he's really
he was
good in that movie. I mean, not like I know it's like a shit movie, but like Hasselhoff is good in that movie. He really tried. You can see him really fucking trying, not like Knight Rider or like Baywatch, or like he's honestly trying to get into the character, man. And there's a couple of points in the movie where you're like, wow, you really probably could have pulled this off if this had been an actual fucking movie.
Yeah, I wonder, you know, there's a universe where James Gunn never left Marvel. He directs the Secret Wars films and puts Hasselhoff in as Nick Fury and during, you know what I mean, one of the multiverse Nick Fury's, you know, and has to team up, right? Because they're on good terms. You know?
I was gonna say, man, like I know the Hoff would be down with that too. You know what I mean? Like he's not proud, man.
Well, he was in the music video for Guardians 2.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, dude. If you rewatch that music video, bro, it's super dope because
I never will. No,
he's singing.
But
watch the video. No. Watch the music video for Guardians 2, man. Trust me on this. You're gonna like it. You like 70s stuff, dude? Trust me on this one. It's not what you think.
I'm more of his like I don't know, like I'll do it for you, Rob.
Do it for me.
I bought a
how often have I
for you? How
often have I ever said, really, I think you'll like something, right? Like, I know how much you just dislike anything I like, so I'm like, nah, he won't like that. But this, I think you will like.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. I have a soft spot for fucking True Survivor. I listen to that shit all the fucking time. So if you even know what that is.
I do not. So, you know.
Did you
Hey, look,
ever see
I'm the first to tell people when I don't know, you know?
No, it like there's a movie called Kung Fury that
Yeah, I know
came
Kung
out.
Fury. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, True Survivor is the like it's the Hasselhoff single from Kung Fury.
Oh, okay. All right.
Gotta make it like a true survivor. I fucking love that shit. It's hilarious. I will
I
laugh
like
my
this.
ass off.
Yeah, you'll like this.
I'm such a salty bitch about the MCU, so
Yeah, well,
I
at
never
the end of the
check it
day,
out.
even if someone doesn't like an MCU movie, I go, man, I would have killed for this in the 90s, you know? Like, look, I
Yeah,
really wanted to like the Shadow movie. I really wanted to, man. There's you know,
dude.
director of Highlander, you know, it's set in the 30s. It has the weirdest structure and pacing of any film I think I've ever seen in the 90s, you know? Like, it's so
No,
fucking
it's a
weird.
good movie. It's a good movie.
I know you think that, you know. It
It's
had a
an
lot going.
awesome movie.
It's not serious enough or not cartoony enough. You know what I mean? Like, it's somewhere in
Yes, I will
between.
give
It
you
doesn't.
that shit. It feels like a half-assed Sam Raimi Darkman in a lot of places.
It feels like it's trying to be Raimi and doesn't even get there. It's
I
sad to
said a
say, you know.
half-ass, not a like we can actually understand what makes Raimi work.
Right.
I get
You know.
that, yes.
The funny thing though is seeing, like, when you listen to the theme of the Shadow, and then you listen to Zimmer and James Newton Howard's Batman Begins theme, it's the
Oh
same thing.
Jesus, it's the
Like,
exact same
yeah,
fucking theme.
yeah. It's a super. I wonder if Goldsmith, if he's cool with that, or if, you know, if he gave his blessing, or, you know what I
I
mean.
doubt that.
I don't know. I mean,
Somehow I
Zimmer's
do.
on good terms with a lot of people. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm certain if it wasn't, I think he would have said something, right?
I don't know. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy to say something publicly. Privately, maybe. I
Maybe.
think maybe he's the kind of guy to have. I don't know. That's always how he struck me, as a very like not political in the sense of like you know, like actual politics, but like being able to deal with people and knowing where and when to discuss things and not to drag shit out in public.
He got paid for Star Trek Next Generation, though, right? Didn't he get?
Yes.
He got, right, so he couldn't have been too sour. I mean, that theme, right? I mean, what are the odds? He does that theme. He's probably thinking that's never happening. That theme's going nowhere ever again because that movie bombed so bad in the public's eye, right? Like, and then they go and put it on that TV show, and it runs for what, 7, 8 seasons? God, how many seasons was that?
More than that. I think it's like
Okay.
11.
Was it? I don't know. I don't think it was 11 seasons, dude. No. It was like 87
Was
to
it not?
92, right?
Because it overlapped. Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna look it up because it overlapped with
93. Yeah, it
to
overlapped with D Space
93.
Nine. Yeah, it
Okay.
overlapped for D Space Nine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I know it ended like the year Deep Space Nine started because they shifted all the characters over. But they kept making movies after that, even.
Yeah, and you got to get paid for that too, right?
Yeah, you know, so like I think that's why I was thinking the series lasted longer, because they had like whatever 2 or 3 movies that came out after the show.
2001, actually, right? That one
What's
with
up?
Tom Hardy. So 2001, right? The one with Tom Hardy that John
Uh,
Logan wrote, the guy from Gladiator. He wrote that one.
Shit, I blocked that movie out of my fucking
Yeah,
memory. Yeah,
everyone did.
man. What
I
was that?
can't forget it because
Nemesis?
Harry Knowles was lighting that one up for like 2 years, you know?
Well, it's
And
a
then,
fucking absolute donkey shit train wreck of a fucking movie. Like, as a
well,
as
yeah, but I
like
mean,
a
he was hyping it up for 2 years, what I was trying to say, you know? And then he comes out, and
oh
you're like, yeah, because he's like, John Logan, Gladiator is going to save Star Trek. I'm like, all right, man, I like Gladiator. You got me on this one. and then that was not the case.
I know, because like I am not a Star Trek freak, but like the fact they hired this, because like there's like 3 screenwriters for Nemesis, and like the guy they hired originally, you know, like had literally never seen an episode of Star Trek in his entire life. He like would refuse to write certain characters in. He had no idea how most of the characters act. That's why I like all of the
But
characters
Nicholas
actually.
Meyer wasn't the biggest Star Trek guy when he went on the movies, you know, and then he caught up, you know, like it didn't.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know,
No, if
you
you
know.
can, if you do your research and you watch your shit, that's one thing. But
I
like
think
I was,
Nicholas Meyer's like benefit was that he wrote. I mean, he wrote the 7% Solution, you know, like so he saw Spock as Sherlock Holmes, and I think that, you know what I mean, put a lot of things into like he found a way in, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And he got the Horatio Hornblower of it all, you know. Not that I'm a expert on that series, but you know, I mean, it's something he grew up with. So.
I just there was like even as a Star Trek Luddite, there was stuff that really bothered me about Nemesis. Like when they fucking turned Worf into a pussy, I was like,
What do you
what?
mean then? I mean, look, Worf was always a difficult character, right? Because he's the toughest guy on the show, right? He's a Klingon, so they'd always be like, "We're gonna show you how tough this villain is because he's gonna kick the crap out of Worf." You're like, now Worf is like the weakest dude on that show.
No, I
Happens.
just
It
mean like in the movie they
wasn't until
turned.
you went right.
He's a fucking alcoholic.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know, I
They
know.
made they turn him into a fucking clown shoe, bro. He's like wandering around. He's like, I can't make it as a politician, so I'm just gonna be drunk to sweat it.
I know. It's not good. It's
What?
not.
What?
It's not good.
That's not
Especially
fuck.
after everything D Space Nine did to like
That's
pump up his
exactly
right.
what I was
I
just
know.
getting ready to
I know.
say, dude. Like,
I know.
because yes, on Next Generation, that was very much Worf. On Deep Space Nine, they did manage to get a little bit beyond that, though. And
A
like,
little bit. I mean, pretty. You know.
I said a little bit. It wasn't perfect. Deep Space Nine is still my favorite Star Trek show. I really like
I'm
it.
with you on that. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
It is the only like Star Trek show that I ever saw where I was like, oh, alien politics, like the premise of this show.
Well,
Okay.
it's the only science fiction show I've seen accurately deal with like the cost of the Bosnian conflict, or you know what I mean? Like
Yes,
really dealing
exactly.
and showing that even though the Federation is one way, doesn't mean the whole galaxy is that way. And I know that flies in the face of some Star Trek fans. Like that's just not the bright future. I'm like, you're assuming the entire universe would go along with a bright future. You know, come on, you know,
But
like
why are they
that's
still
just
out exploring then? Like
that's
there's
not
still
human,
people that
right?
you have to win over like that.
Right. And some cultures just will reject it, you know, outright because they just will, you know. So no, I'm with you on that, you know.
And that was
But
one of my favorite things about Deep Space Nine too, is like there were episodes where they encountered cultures where they were like, these people are fucking unhinged. Like there's no saving these people. There's no rescuing them. We need to get the fuck out of here and make sure these people are locked away. Like that is not
no,
something you.
my favorite one of my favorite episodes was when it's like so smart, dude. It's when they're on the station and they accidentally trigger like the protocols that the Cardassians had set up, right?
Oh
In case there was a
yeah.
riot. So Gul Dukat shows up and he's got them all by the balls. He's like, hey man, you know, yeah, I could save you, but you're gonna have to blah 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 blah. And he's showing off, and finally goes, fine, I'll shut it off for you. And he goes to do it, and the screen comes up, and it goes, well, Gul Dukat, we knew you would try to run away during a riot. It's like, so like Gul Dukat's face is on every monitor before then, telling everyone, you know, you're in a riot, and I'm gonna blah, blah, blah. And then when Gul Dukat shows up to end the riot software, another screen shows up of some other Cardassian like officers. We knew you try to run away during a riot, and he got locked on that station. Like it's such a smart.
Gul Dukat's a wonderful character, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, not
Also,
a wonder. Yeah, I mean, not a wonderful person, but yeah, as a bad guy,
yeah, just
100%.
and like I really liked what they did with the Ferengis on that show.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, well, they made them, you know. I know, like I've been re-listening to there's a podcast called Re-Binge Deep Space Nine. I listen to it, you know, off and on. And one of them was a big fan of Deep Space Nine in the '90s, and the other one, she's like a super. When I say super feminist, I mean like that's how she defines herself, not me. And so, she's like constantly just outraged by the Ferengis, you know, like no matter what. But I'm like, that's kind of the point, you know, like
that's
that's
exactly the point.
right, right.
Because you have to show people why Quark is such a piece of shit, and then like by 2 seasons in, like Quark is like having like a gnarly existential crisis because like he likes a lot of the guys on the station and they treat him well despite him being a Ferengi. And like stuff starts to change for him. There's that episode where like they have the aliens show up and they have the game. Like, hey, you want to play a game? He's like, sure. And it transports Cisco and everybody else into the game, and it seems like they're dying.
It's almost like a battle royale.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like before VR, there's this one thing, they're trapped in a chess game, but essentially it's like battle royale or Sword Art Online in a way, right? Like if that were written today, it would be a Sword Art Online scenario.
That's exactly, yeah. And it was really ahead of its time. But like at the end of that episode, like Quark loses a lot of face with all of the Ferengis because it's very obvious that like he has a relationship with these people, but he doesn't quite understand. He's Ferengi, so he doesn't understand why he likes them. Like it's not profitable. They're like not subservient women, you know. Like it's
well, his nephew joining the Federation didn't help much either. You know,
I just enjoy character growth on a show.
Yeah, and the whole thing does, the whole series does that, and I don't know, like there are just some people who only want the next generation version of Star Trek and don't think anything else is compatible with it, you know. Unless
and that's okay.
And that's fine. I go, when you're down that path, I'm like, well, we can't really, you know, you're not talking to someone who wants to talk about whether something's objectively good or not. They're just sort of settled on, you know, their own version of it, which is whatever. Like, hey man, Strange New Worlds is pretty good, even though it's corny, you know? Like, it's corny, but it's good corny, you know? Like, it's the closest to the next generation I've seen, but it mixes the aesthetic of the JJ stuff. I mean, the production design on that show is amazing. If it hasn't won awards for it, it should. I don't know at the Emmys. I don't really know its score at the Emmys, but yeah, it's a pretty good show. Fantastic theme too.
Not watched it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in line with like Next Generation, with a little bit of like, I don't know. Like I said, dude, I can't recommend much other than Deep Space Nine and that. Like I would just watch those two. There's just not as many episodes of Stranger World. It's very, you know, these days you do like 10 because the production value is as good as a movie. It's crazy, you know.
Yeah, and I think that probably would have also helped me like get into Star Trek more if it looked a little bit better. And I don't say that like harshly or anything, but
Stranger World's dope, dude. Yeah, both those seasons are good. They're on. So
I'll have to check it out then. If it's worth checking out.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, you want to see how to accurately use the volume on a TV show? That's how you do it.
Oh my God, somebody who can actually do sound mixing.
Yeah, the sound is great. Yeah, they do a good job. You know, I don't know, man. You know, And we live in a world now where people are trying to tell me Voyager is a great show, and I'm like, it wasn't. Now,
Voyager?
I'm not a big Kate Mulgrew fan. I do wonder what that show would have been like had Linda Hamilton took the job, though. Because Linda
Wait.
Hamilton was originally up for Janeway.
Yeah, did she
She
lose
she
out? I
passed.
thought
No,
they
she
did.
passed on it. No, she passed on it.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say I had heard she got fucking screwed over on that show. I had heard that she lost out, not that she
I heard
passed.
she passed. I heard she passed on.
Man, that is a fucking. I happen to be a massive Linda Hamilton fan. I won't front.
Yeah.
I think she's just infinitely badass. It's probably because of, you know, how I was introduced to her, my age, and all of that shit. But like, Linda Hamilton is like the definition of like hot, older, badass chick to me.
Hey, look, when Mike Turner drew Laura Croft, and he just made Laura Croft Linda Hamilton. She's got the same glasses as Terminator 2, the ponytail, the lean body, the whole bit.
Yep. Yeah, when
Matter
I
of
found
fact,
out all the,
Mike Turner's lips are the Linda Hamilton lips from you know, she from Terminator 2. Yeah.
Like when I found out like all of the stuff that she learned how to do for Terminator 2, like I really started respecting Linda Hamilton a lot more too, man. Like it was crazy. Like she
Oh yeah, and she was open about that at the time. I was proselytizing, you know. I was like, she's great, you know. So yeah, man.
Like you took time to learn how to fucking pick locks for one scene.
For one scene. Yeah.
Holy crap.
That's why I love the Cameron commentary he did with Bill Wisher, where he's like, you see this guy here when she clocks him in the head? Real. Okay, she hits that real. Because he kept like, when they were doing the whole like the guy hits her on the ground, he wouldn't actually drop her one, and so she kept hitting her knees, and it was way more painful for her than if he had just like actually hit her.
Yep.
And so when it was her turn to hit him, she really clocked his ass.
She cranked the shit out of him. Yeah, there's a bunch of the stunt guys from that movie that have like talked about Linda Hamilton over the years, and they were like, dude, we've seen like badass chicks. Like one dude was like, I got kicked in the head by Cynthia Rothrock at one point. He was like, that shit hurt. He was like, she punched me in the fucking face, and it was like getting hit by a freight train. You should have seen that chick on the set of Terminator 2. She was constantly working out and fucking.
Jesus, Linda, you're ripped to shreds, you know.
She wanted to look like a badass next to fucking Arnold. Yeah. Like, all right.
And she did that on her own, man. You know what I mean? Back when, you know, like they had trainers and stuff for that.
Oh yeah, no, and James Cameron was fucking giving her all types of shit about it, and like, yeah, it's like gnarly stories have come out about like how much people made fun of her. Like, you do know that you're supposed to be like also attractive because you're a woman in a movie. Like, this is gross. You're always sweaty and doing fucking pull-ups and shit. No one wants to see this.
I still say she deserved the Oscar that year, but I think it went to Driving Miss Daisy. Like, fucking dumb movie.
Ow. Well,
not a fan of Driving Miss Daisy.
Actually, you know what? I wouldn't fucking argue with it being a dumb movie, actually. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Driving Miss Daisy. A lot of people have come back on that one. It's not.
Oh, no. Let me not defend the subject matter of that film or the validity of that film. No. That's like a 1970s movie, maybe. Not you don't get away with that now. You don't.
But you look at what like Charlize Theron got an Oscar for Monster, and you look at what Linda Hamilton's doing in Terminator 2. I'm telling you, you know, like
I think that Charlize Theron deserved a lot of fucking credit for and this is gonna sound really horrible maybe, but like for having the balls to be ugly. That's dude, as a
And I see
woman
Linda
in
Hamilton kind of
Hollywood
did it first, right? Like,
was
like Linda Hamilton was doing that first. I mean,
yeah, no, absolutely. Dude, props to both of those chicks. You know who one of my favorite, like my top five, like out of my top five actresses, dude, fucking Kathy Bates. Holy
sure.
shit, way to just be fearless on film. Utterly fearless. Like you went full on Bush at like 70 in fucking About Schmidt. You literally don't fucking care.
You never know
Massive,
where the conversation is going to roll on this show.
like massive fucking props to her, dude. Like Shelley Duvall, one of the best actresses at like. It's so sad that she got broken, man. But Shelley was an amazing actress. And she was never afraid to look unattractive or unappealing in a role. You know,
Yeah, but she looked great in Mother Goose.
oh, dude, she made an amazing olive oil, dude.
I know. I rewatch that film at least once a year.
Oh,
I'm a
do
huge
you?
fan of it. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Popeye.
I see. Unfortunately, it's a musical, so I can't.
Yeah, but it's a musical that's sung on set, so I'm always captivated by it.
I
Like
won't
they're
argue with
really
you there.
because
Different
there's
beats, yes,
like
but
Schmigadoon it's all sung on set, so like I have an interest in that. The ADR stuff, I'm just like whatever. You could put any song over it, I don't care. But when they're singing on location on set, like I mean, what's so crazy to me as a kid is I knew Popeye was different when like they're in the casino, right? When they're in the casino betting on those like mechanical horse races, and you can just see out the window into the bay and the ocean's rolling. I'm like, they're really, is even as a kid, I'm like, they're really there. This is a real place, like, because it was stylized too, and
super stylized. Yeah,
yeah. So like, I'd never seen a real stylized place that wasn't like a Gilligan's Island set or something before that movie. You watch
you know
Annie,
what?
it's fake
Yeah,
as shit. You know what I mean? Like it's.
yeah. There
But
was
Popeye
something
was real.
magical that felt different about that movie to
Yeah.
me as a kid.
Yeah.
And I never really put my finger on it.
The water's real too, man. Like when they get in the water, like when they're in the ocean, that's real ocean. Like
Yes,
that's,
it is. Yeah.
like
And you can
that's,
tell.
yeah, you just can't fake the color, the tone, everything, the salt in the air. I mean, and they shot it in order. So when they blow up the house with Bluto and stuff, all the damage is still there. And it was a fully functional kitchen. That's where they ate,
Yeah.
And then you just look at everything, like everything feels like because it was real. Like that's how everyone was living there. That's how they wrote off the cost. I mean, it's still there now. You guys go to the Isle of Malta, that's a theme park.
I've always wanted to go.
Yeah. So no, I got a lot of love for that movie. And it wasn't as big a flop as people thought it was. It was actually profitable. It's just it got killed in the critics.
Well, yeah, and it didn't have the lasting power either. Like a
Well, they
lot
wanted a
of
mega hit because it was made in response to Annie, and like they got it out before Annie, and they wanted it to be, and it wasn't. But I mean, let's be honest. Out of all of the movies made from out of pulp comic strips, let's say Popeye, Dick Tracy, The Phantom, Shadow, Popeye is leagues beyond all of them in terms of a complete film. Dick Tracy is a gorgeous film to look at. It's virtually unwatchable with that story, like I've tried. I'm like, no, man, that was good, right? And I open it back up. I'm like, no, man,
this is
no
even
one's
worse than I
likable.
remember. Like, how's that possible? I thought this was a piece of shit. This isn't even a movie.
Yeah, Dick Tracy's not really a film.
It's not.
Yeah.
Like your critique of The Phantom is essentially how I feel about fucking Dick Tracy. Like
I'm
what?
not a fan of, but Dick Tracy at least looks cool. You could, you
no,
know what I mean?
Dick Tracy looks amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm
There's
saying.
no taking away from the aesthetics of that film.
Right, but as a film, it's so Popeye beats them all because it's got the style and it's got the whole film,
And it's got acting.
and it's got acting.
The acting is what really sets Popeye apart for me with Robin Williams. I forget who plays Pappy, but he was so good. Was it Burgess Meredith?
No, it wasn't. It's this other guy I always get confused with George Carlin and back in the day.
I can't remember. The
Yeah, I
cast was
know.
great.
No, it's the dude from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the Spicoli's
Oh,
teacher.
you're right. It is, isn't it?
Yeah. That's who that is.
But I have a soft spot for the Phantom, or for not for the Phantom,
No, I don't.
the Shadow. My bad.
Yeah, man, I want it. Ray Walston. Thanks, Jesse. Yeah, Ray Walston played Pappy. But I mean, look,
Ray
and there's
Walston, thank you.
all the Thimble Theater characters. I mean, you got to know your original Popeye to even know who half them characters are. So it's just like, no, man, I stand by that film. I think it's a solid 4 out of 5 star film. I'll stand by Popeye any day of the week.
Yeah, I would stand by Popeye. I don't know if I'd say it's a 4 out of 5, but it's a damn good movie. And like, it's one of those movies that I think is like really unfairly maligned.
Put that film on in front of a kid, and they will to this day stare at that TV the entire time.
My kid hated it.
Yeah, man, your kid's got your taste though. Like, right? You grew up with
It's not really
like Marco Pierre White's kids, like, oh no, I don't like peanut butter and jelly, you know, like
it's weird what my kid likes and doesn't like.
All right, well, there's one in every family. I stand
It's,
correct.
you know.
Put most kids in front of Popeye, they'll watch it. You know.
And she even does like musicals, which is why I put it on. I was like, oh well, you know, she'll be able to get past that. Like, she, like halfway through, she was like, I don't get it, Dad. And I was like, what? And she was like, so he eats spinach and gets superpowers. She
Red
was
Letter
like,
Media shits on everything, Zombie, but you know what I mean? Like,
well, no, but it was just funny because she was like, I just like Uncle Rob's drawing, okay? Because that's why I put it on. She saw that Popeye, and I was like, oh, there's a movie. And she was like, Uncle Rob's drawing is way better, just way better. Where is his spinach gun?
Yeah, look, you're right. A spinach gun would have made the movie better. Arnold played Bluto at the day, you know, came out. Hey, Popeye. Comes out like John Matrix. Yeah, he comes out like John Matrix with the spinach cannon. Fucks it. I'll spinach you last. You know.
Here's some kale in your eye. I just thought it was the funniest.
I'll kill you last. I lied.
But I just thought it was the most priceless response from her. Like, no, I just like Uncle Rob's drawing. And I was like, okay, sweetie, we can watch something else.
I get it. You know.
So many movies that came out around that time were like bizarre little time capsules. And Popeye always takes me back to a really weird place in my life.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Popeye than Clash of the Titans.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know if I'd ever. I don't know if I'd put Clash of the Titans on anymore.
Yeah, I even had the toys when I was a kid at Clash of the Titans. Can you believe that one?
I would have if I could afford them. Those were like the shit.
Well, they were on discount at Save On, dude. That's how I got them. They're like 50 cents, dude. Nobody. That was a big bomb. That Clash of the Titans.
Oh, dude, but around my where I live, we didn't have shit for Clash of the Titans toys. Like we had, it was really weird. Like I live in like Southern Illinois, and for whatever reason, like the toy selection where I lived is like bizarre. Like Voltron, which was like so rare in most parts of the country comparatively to most stuff, was like everywhere because that started at KPLR, like in St. Louis, about an hour away from me. And like
when I was a kid, I only saw Voltron figures once at the Plaza Bonita Mall, and it was inside a J.C. Penney's department store in the toy section. You know?
If you can
Yeah.
imagine where I grew up, Voltron toys were as plentiful as Transformers toys. It was weird. Like
Because I remember, like, when I first moved there, because it was when my parents got a divorce, so my mom moved in with her boyfriend, and he had a house in Sweetwater Road, which is literally right up the street from this mall, Plaza Bonita Mall, which is still there. And the kid, it was like a fairly little wealthy suburb, you know, like everyone there kind of had money, you know, like middle class.
Mhm.
And we didn't have shit. And so I was hanging out with this kid next door, and they had everything, the Atari, all that stuff. And in his room, he had the full Voltron set, right? The whole thing
Yep.
hooked together. And I was like, "Where'd you get that?" And he was like, "Oh, they got it at the mall." And so I begged to go to the mall, and it was at the J.C. Penney kids department. That's the only time I ever saw those figures in the wild. Yeah.
They were fairly rare, man, and like it was weird. Like I used to like the KB's toy that I always went to. They constantly had a USS flag out there, man. Like I knew, like
I only saw the flag at Toys R Us. Never saw it. KB was ghetto for us, dude. Yeah, Thrawn's right. Jesse, he's from LA. He goes, yeah, Voltron was absent in the Central Valley, but GoBots were prevalent. Yeah, we had GoBots every fucking where, dude. Like,
yeah, exactly, man. It was really weird where I grew up, man. It was like, what the fuck
but
are you?
You saw them everywhere, but you didn't get nothing, right? Like,
yeah, exactly, man, dude. Like
wouldn't you rather have not seen them?
Like He-Man toys were hard to come by, but Voltron was everywhere. Like what?
It's weird how those like distribution deals work, right?
Yeah, because like Voltron was just from in St. Louis, like an hour away from me. So you know that was like what they were pushing because it was on the TV here all the time.
You watched the original anime, the King of Beast Go Lion, like
of Voltron?
Yeah,
there's like 3 of them. But
no,
yeah.
all of them are up on YouTube, man. I highly recommend sitting through it. Now, first off, our theme song is way better. Like their theme song is goofy as shit, dude. It grows on you because it's so corny, you know. But the story actually makes sense. Like,
well,
our
yeah, I was
story
gonna
makes no
say because
sense.
the U.S. version is 3 different shows all pieced together eventually. So
Yeah. No, but and it's dark, man. It's a kids' cartoon, and there's rapes and genocide. Like, I mean, it's pretty violent.
that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, dude.
Yeah, no, I'd heard about it for years and years and years because the guy who kind of came up with the concept of adapting those and all of that shit was only a few hours from my house. But no, I've never fucking seen them. And the last time that, God, 10 years ago when I was interested and was like, oh, I wouldn't mind watching that, they were totally unavailable.
But yeah, it's on YouTube, dude.
I'll have to fucking check that out, man.
Yeah, all fully with the Japanese audio and subs and the whole bit, you know?
That's dope, man.
Yeah. It actually is a really good cartoon when you watch the actual anime. Because then I'm like, oh, so it's great because it starts off, right? It starts off with Voltron, which is badass robot that's slaying monsters left and right around the galaxy, right? And he gets so full of himself, he decides to challenge God herself, the goddess of the universe, and God fucks Voltron up. Oh, you think you're the shit? So then God or the goddess splits Voltron into 5 lions as punishment for challenging God. Yeah, dude. Like, and that's how it starts. Like I'm like, bro, sit through that cartoon. Like,
that's a Voltron my ass can get down with.
And so when Voltron disappears, the whole galaxy goes to shit because of it.
Because he's been fucking up all these monsters, and he's all
Now they're all roaming free, and everyone's doing whatever they want, and Voltron's gone. Yeah, and Voltron's gone because of Voltron's own hubris.
Dude, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. Thrawn wants to know, Roman, what was the toy you could get? And what toys did you get?
You mean like could I have bought or did I own?
No, you actually got the ones that you actually got. Like what? We all know what we couldn't afford, but what did you actually get? That's a good
Well,
question.
I'm trying to not be a depressing guy.
No,
I
no,
ended up
tell us. Be depressing. Tell us.
I ended up with my mom and my sister living in our car not too long after that. So I
Very
think
close.
I think that I did have at one point a original Storm Shadow GI Joe at that point, and I know that I had a just utterly I mean, it was disgusting Moss Man that I bought at a
Those things would get nasty, right?
and I bought him like secondhand at a garage sale.
Yeah.
Most of the toys that I ever got a chance to play with when I was a kid, we the place where we like parked for quite a while and like stayed was right next to this kid that I used to go to school with when I was young, and he was real rich. One of his parents had died in a plane wreck, and his his grandparents, one was a dentist, and I forget, like I think his grandma won the lottery, so they just had ridiculous amounts of money. So I would normally like anything that I remember as a kid as a toy was either my cousins that they let me play with, or was Tony's, one of the two. I didn't really have anything until I was about 8 when I started working on a farm, and I was volunteering at the local comic shop to like get books and stuff to read. And I ended up with some of the Toy Biz figures from around that time and that kind of stuff because they would come through the shop, and the
Right.
shop owner kind of felt bad for me. So it's like, oh, they're secondhand Toy Biz fucking
I mean,
toys here.
Toy Biz has been around for a while. They did the original Secret Wars toys, didn't they? Didn't they?
I think
I want to say
that
that.
was.
Am I wrong on that?
I think that might have been Mattel.
Was that Mattel?
I think
So
that
Toy
was.
Biz didn't show up to the early '90s then.
I think Toy Biz is early '90s.
All right. Well, then I take that back
I
because I had
think.
those first Secret Wars toys. That was my exposure to Wolverine. You
Yeah,
know?
I was gonna say I had those Secret Wars toys too, and I'm trying. Well, not. I mean, I didn't have them. Sorry, that's wrong. I saw a shit ton of them and played with them whenever I could. How's
And,
that?
and I didn't see Wolverine again until my friend in junior high let me God Loves Man Kills. So I was like, oh damn, that was my first X-Men story.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
That,
right. Yeah,
that's the way to start, man.
yeah. You're like, you gotta read this. I'm like, will do. Uh,
But yeah, not to be all depressing. But yeah, I didn't have many toys as a kid. Uh, I have like really fond memories of a bunch of toys that I forgot. My one buddy Tim, his mom would babysit me all the time, and she was like one of those compulsive um, people like that hit garage sales all the time in the
yeah, that was
90s,
my mom. Yeah.
and they had a wicked collection of just rando ass toys, dude. They had a bunch of the Inhumanoids, so I played with those as a kid. Mostly it's my memories of like playing with the toys instead of owning them. So I'll stick with that, the good memory. The Inhumanoids, like I played with a lot of them. I was a big fan of that series. I don't know who else fucking dug that shit when they were around, but I still think Tendril is one of the coolest fucking toys ever.
Yeah, my mom would go to take us to garage sale today and then just not buy anything. She just liked to haggle. And then if she couldn't get things for like a quarter, she wouldn't, you know. She thought she could haggle everything to like a quarter. So it was like he just would always walk away with nothing.
Yeah, my mom didn't even go to the garage sales. So
my mom didn't understand that whatever prices she paid as a kid wouldn't stick, as time moved on. She thought the prices from the 60s and early 70s that's what you always pay. I'm like, no, Mom, that's,
unfortunately, not quite how it works. I wish. I'd have had a few more toys as a kid, probably.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I know there had to have been like more than just that shitty Moss Man that I had.
That thing would collect lint. I always remember that. Like,
dude, it was like
yeah.
so gross. It wasn't even. It didn't even have like the moss was just clumpy. It wasn't even like mossy. It looked like just like fucking matted dog fur. Oh, it was awful. Man, I know, because at one point I did have like a couple of the Toy Biz figures after, and that would probably be my favorite memories, my favorite toys. It's like those Toy Biz figures that I got when I was working out at the shop. I really, really love some of those figures. The
like the X-Force stuff and everything.
yeah, the X-Men, X-Force, that kind of stuff, like the Nightcrawler with the suction cup on the knee. That's a great fucking figure. I have one of those again. I know I had one as a kid. I know I had to have had one as a kid. I wouldn't remember it so vividly, but that would have been after I started working at the shop. So I'd have been probably too old to act should have been playing with toys. Not that that ever stopped me.
You didn't have the Darkman toys?
Oh, dude, God, that would have been cool.
There'd always be a KB in that bin, the discontinued bin with all those dumbass Dick Tracy toys.
Fucking Dick Tracy, man.
Man, they pushed hard on that one, remember?
Oh my God, that movie was so expensive.
That summer they pushed hard.
But yeah, man, Beatty was fucking adamant about that movie. He knew it was going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. Woo! A little bit off there. I remember watching that movie for the first time because, like, I walked up to the Dollar Theater. I used to live up by Dollar Theater, so I would go and I lived right across the street from a Piggly Wiggly, so I'd go into the parking lot and search for quarters until I found $1 and then go see a movie. And I remember going and seeing Dick Tracy and just being like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I really wanted to like that. There were a lot of really cool colors and designs, and Madonna was hot. And what was that?
Yeah, she turned down Catwoman because of that movie.
Did she?
Yeah, she didn't want the trouble.
Probably not a bad call.
No, we got a better deal.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that second fucking Batman movie, admittedly, though.
I like parts of it. I mean, I like her performances. You know what I mean? And,
I like Danny DeVito.
It's not the first. I mean, like I said, there's a lot to like. There's also a lot of like, just not. I don't know. It's just kind of a incomplete film. Daniel Waters. The writer. He wrote Heathers. He did a really great interview with superhero stuff you should know. You know that channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. They did a fantastic interview with them. But he was like, yeah, he wrote Heathers. He's like, I wrote it for Tim Burton. I mean, I just thought he would direct it. And like, did you know him? No, I just thought naively, like, if I wrote a film for Tim Burton, he would just eventually direct it, and he did not. But Burton saw that movie and hired him, to do the rewrite on Batman Returns. I still wish they would have gone with the original. Bob was it Bob Gale? What's
Yeah,
it?
I think so.
Bob
That's
Gale script. Yeah. The whole treasure underneath the mansion bit, but at least that was a true sequel to the first film, and it had a good hook. I mean, the idea that the guys that Gotham City was once robbed, and so the wealthiest people in Gotham City bailed out the city, and that's how they ended up owning it. The Cobblepots, the Waynes, like three other families ended up carving up the city, and it turns out that all those guys were the ones who robbed the city. And this old treasure, the wealth of Gotham City, was buried. It's buried in the Batcave, and that's where Penguin and Catwoman go to find, the buried treasure, essentially. And Bruce Wayne has to deal with the fact that his family fortune was built off stealing, right? That they looted the city, And so I'm like, very clever, but I could see like that's not a John Peters action spectacle, right? That sort of thing. And it's not quirky enough for Tim Burton, right? So the best explanation I've seen, and by the way, this is not what the movie is, but the best headcanon explanation I've heard for Batman Returns that makes the most sense if it were in the film was that each villain represents a personality trait of Bruce Wayne, and that when you put them all together, you get him. They're all like, so like Penguin is like Bruce if he had everything, but not he actually looked like his inner demon versus, like he looked how he was on the inside. And Catwoman would be like, what happens when you aren't a Bruce Wayne, you're just Batman, right? You're just when you forego your personal life and just become the thing, and Max Schreck is what happens if he just became we went all Bruce Wayne and no Batman, like I'm like, there's something there to that, but that's not really in the film.
Not at all.
I think if that idea were explored more and put into the film, there would be a case, but you would almost need the psychiatry angle that Batman Forever was theoretically going for.
Yeah.
But that film too.
Holy rusted metal, Batman.
It got a laugh in the theater. I'll give him that, but
They're not laughing with you, Chris. They're laughing at you. I don't understand the difference. I know you don't. Neither does Joel.
I know. Hey, what's up, Jason?
At least Joel Schumacher truly repented for bat nipples.
Oh, it was the best. I bought the DVD set when it came out, just solely because it had the Joel Schumacher commentaries. I'm like, I gotta hear what this guy says about this. And he just apologizes for Batman and Robin. And to an extent, he goes, hey, look, he stands by Batman Forever, and I'll give him that. There's stuff in that film that is good. There's a lot of it that isn't, but there's stuff in there that is good. But he goes, hey, for the folks that were fans of Batman Forever and you saw this and you were disappointed, I apologize. And I know what he means, because when I went to that early screen of Batman and Robin, it was filled with nothing but normies, And the opening credits, since there were temp credits, were the Batman Forever credits,
Mm-hmm.
So when the Batman Forever credits rolled by, everyone was cheering, They were expecting more of that. And it was very evident within the first few minutes that this was not that film,
No,
it was about to get a whole lot worse.
I don't even know I don't know.
But the superhero stuff you should know had the art director on from Forever, and they went through all the images they had that had come out about that film, and he was saying which ones were real, which ones weren't. And the original Batmobile for that had like this, it was a cross between like a stealth and Art Deco look, and it looked pretty cool. And like and I remember, Blockbuster Video, 3 or 4 months before the movie came out, had these Batman Forever t-shirts. I got one that had like this logo, and it's the one that's in the Batcave. It's like literally rusted metal, and it has like an Art Deco kind of look to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a totally where it felt like there was another movie buried in this movie somewhere, and it got changed and turned all into neon, right? And like he describes that there was this Art Deco aesthetic they were going for, but that Joel definitely changed everything at the last second, like including the car. They had to rebuild the car from scratch because he was like, "No, we want to go with this ribbed thing," and it was like, "What?" Like he was just like scrambling because they have to build those things. They had to like, what are you doing? And so I do think there's a version of that film that's closer to the animated series on some level in terms of its style, you
Was
know?
was that the one where there's all the alternate footage that's just been sitting around that they haven't ever done anything with?
Yeah, they have an alternate cut of that. I mean, it's
Okay.
not, I guarantee you, it's not a huge difference, but it's something. But I just think that design wise, it was ultimately a different look initially, and
Oh
then
yeah, yeah,
Joel
yeah. No, 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 no. That's yeah,
Joel
but that's
changed it.
yeah. I was gonna say that's why I was asking because like the big thing was like I always heard that there was just it felt disjointed even in that initial cut, and obviously that was because there was multiple versions of the film that were basically kicking around that they just couldn't decide on.
Jason says it's as if Joel Schumacher wanted to make a Godfrey Ho movie, but forgot about it halfway through. Who's Godfrey Ho? I'm unfamiliar with that reference. I don't know who
I
Godfrey
mean,
Ho is. Do you really know, or are you just trying to be like you've heard the name? Let me see. Let me see who Godfrey Ho is. I don't think any of us know who Godfrey Ho is. Let's see. Godfrey Ho films. Oh look, let's see what he wanted to do. Let's see what this is. Ninja Force.
I was gonna say Godfrey Ho is like a not a Hong Kong guy, but
Yeah, it's a Hong Kong guy. He's a former Hong Kong film director and screenwriter.
former Hong Kong. Didn't he come to the U.S. and do a bunch of like really low budget?
Ninja Force, Ninja Terminator, Full Metal Ninja.
Yeah, that's what I meant. He made his bones mostly here in
It's
the U.S. and
he did
and
Honor and Glory with Cynthia Rothrock, bro. That's how I know that.
yeah, Rothrock.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah, I know Honor. By the way, did you see the Lady Dragons trailer?
Uh-uh.
It's Rothrock's got a new movie.
Oh my gosh.
It's just, yeah. You should watch the trailer. It's as if they just continued making direct to Cinemax films, but I'm interested in watching it, It's no John Wick, all right? Like let's not, but it's definitely a step above Dragon Wars. I mean,
Oh shit.
but yeah, he would take a Cambodian film and a Japanese film and smush them together into an amalgamation of ridiculousness. Thrawn Rothrock and young Michelle Yeoh. Yeah. The '80s one where they're fighting in the mall. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. No, there was a whole literally rusted metal Art Deco art style to Batman Forever that out of nowhere Joel Schumacher just changed, and I brought that up to Jason, Jason Ward, who I did the Star Wars podcast with, and Jason just swears it was cocaine that changed Joel Schumacher's body, and I'm like, "Now you being just a wise ass," and he's like, "No, no, I'm pretty certain it was coke." I was like, "All right, I can't confirm that, but." I mean, the man did make Lost Boys and Flatliners. You know what I mean? Like he had that. You can see if you look at Flatliners and you look at Batman '89, you can see he could have
Yes.
made a Burton-esque Peters. You know what I mean?
If he'd have wanted to, he could have. He
Right.
did not
Yeah.
want to.
It has that s. Matter of fact, I say if you look at the way they shot the music video from Kiss from the Rose, looks like the Joel Schumacher that we know.
I wouldn't argue with that actually.
Yeah, it looks exactly like Flatliners. Like,
Yeah, because like prior to all that, I didn't mind Schumacher at all because I actually really like Flatliners and shit.
and young and Lost Boys.
I wasn't so much into Lost Boys when I was younger. I was definitely more of a Flatliners guy. I like Lost Boys a lot now.
You
But
didn't have babysitters, man. I had two. I had 3 teenage girl babysitters, and believe me, you know, the Coreys, you weren't getting away without,
Yeah,
without
it was
watching
weird,
every
man. I
Corey
never
film.
got exposed. Like Corey felt I never saw them for shit. Because like my cousins were male and my sister was younger than me, and so I always got to pick what was on. They were never on.
I had a crush on one of them. I mean, I was shooting above my pay grade. I'm in the 3rd grade, 4th grade, and you know, she's like in the 7th or 8th, but I was trying, you know. And my uncle had all these tickets to like radio, you know, movie premieres, you know, like free radio premieres where they
Oh,
give away
yeah, you
t-shirts and
said
shit.
that before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's what he did for a living. And so I asked him if he could get us to License to Drive. And he got us in, and I took her. I was like, "You want to go?" So that was like my first date. I took a girl 4 grades above me to go see the License to Drive premiere. Got a License to Drive T-shirt.
dude, the Coreys would have been proud.
The Corys, yeah, you know what I mean. I have a lot of love for those guys. Yeah. Jason says he remembers from St. Elmo's Fire. Yeah, I actually like that Man in Motion song. I don't like the movie so much, but you know, but it's a Brat Pack film for certain.
What's funny now is that as obsessed as I ever got with Lost Boys, my daughter is like 10 times as obsessed.
Oh, even now?
Oh my God, she will constantly beg me to put on that movie when we're driving in the car. Oh my fucking
Does she
God.
do the "Thou shall not kill"
Oh,
bit?
cry little sister. Fucking she knows all the words to
Well,
fucking as she calls him, greased up sax guy. She
well,
even
okay.
knows
So the sax guy, right? This year,
Tim
you know
Capaldi.
that,
Oh no,
yeah,
no,
but
no,
you
no,
know,
no, no.
whatever. The sax guy,
Yeah,
you know
maybe.
that new Axel F movie that went on Netflix?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Lorne Balfe did the score for that. He's the guy who did like Mission Impossible, last 2 Mission Impossible films.
Okay.
He for the Axel F theme, he teamed up with that guy and Sunglasses Kid. So they actually went and got all the original synths from the 80s, and all the synth work on that score are on original hardware. And they got that all the saxophone on that track is sax guy from Lost Boys. And it's an epic track, dude. Like, say what you want about the movie, it's not that great, but that track is Lorne Balfe did his job, you know.
Bang it, I tell you.
Yeah.
I just loved. Did you see? Like, did you punish yourself with the Lost Boys sequel at all?
Oh, come on, man. I mean, what are you doing? You know, I mean, we all no, I'm not. Can't do that, dude.
Okay. Well, see,
I,
some of us were like smoked a little bit too much pot and like had some free time on our hands and decided that might be funny.
so glad I don't smoke any pot.
Like, I got stoned at one point and was like, that was a great idea. I'll laugh my ass off. It's gonna be terrible. Like, the only thing that I took away from that fucking movie was the fact that they have like a nod to greased up sax guy. There's just this fat dude who's like covered in grease, drunk off of his ass, playing a saxophone for no reason on the side of the road at one point in that movie, and you're like, oh,
Ridiculous.
that's the brilliance level of this film. Thanks, guys.
Johnson said there was a comic in the Lost Boys film that was a one-off. The owner of that comic shop still owns it and lets you take pictures holding it and stuff. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that.
For the, you mean the two comics that they read?
Yeah, they did like a one. It's like a made. You know, they didn't get a license. They made a comic, and he
Yeah,
because he
Gene
still has the prop.
Colan. Gene Colan did them.
Gene Colan. I guess this guy owns them. This comic shop owner.
Oh well, there are only like I think like 3 pages and covers. But what's really dope is, God, what is his name? I think it's Justin Ishmael. About 7 or 8 years ago, put those out as comic books, both of them. and you can get fully like now you can only get there's like shitty fucking Etsy ones or whatever, but these were a fully licensed scan from the original art, and super fucking cool, man. Destroy all vampires and something else.
Vampires everywhere is what Jason's saying was.
Vampires everywhere and destroy all vampires. That's what it is. Thank you.
Uncle Jerk knows his shit, guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah, man. Well, those were like some of the more fully produced ones. It was pretty cool to see those comics finally get released all these years later. They did a 3D version and a regular version.
I used to have one of the best techniques for doing my own stereoscopic 3D in Photoshop. I had figured it out and on how to like do several different layers and blend them together. And I did them as like I was like selling this as promotional stuff for like 8-bit and different magazines. So I did like all these Richie Rich covers in 3D. They're all on my DeviantArt. If you ever want to check them out, I put the stereoscopic versions on there that I did. And I even did one for Tom. I did like he wanted me to Big Dog Inc. Is one of the few homages I ever did. It's the homage to Spider-Man 1, right? But his character called Critter. And so she's like a cat chick, so I did it with yarn, all the string and shit. But I also did a stereoscopic version where it came with the 3D glasses, and it's a bit of a. But I've forgotten how I did it. I never made a video, but I really like the depth is pretty good. Like, figure out how to blend different levels together so I could.
Yeah, I was a masochist at one point, and not perfectly, but I can draw stereoscopic 3D by hand.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, bro. So
it's
but I converted all my, so I did like several covers in stereoscopic.
That's cool as shit, man.
Yeah. I wish I remembered how I did it. I just remember, those things where you figure out something and then you just delete it from memory, You're like, yeah, I deleted it. I don't know how I'm certain if I sat down, but then I'm like, well, who cares? Like,
If I just beat my head against the fucking wall, I will remember. But I really don't want to do that. Not worth it.
Yeah, what awards am I winning for this trick?
Exactly. Like, I'm just gonna punish myself by making this shit more complicated. Always with the more work for myself. There were some great 3D comics when I was growing up, and then they just fucking disappeared. And I miss 3D comics.
Yeah, you get headaches trying to like double check your word. I can tell you that much.
Get headaches reading them. I miss them though. Yeah, there was God, what was it? Zen 3D special that came out a few years ago. That was just absolutely incredible looking, man. It's got a Sam Keith cover, and the guy like spent like 2.5 years doing the 3D process on it. It looks great.
I could have done that in a month. So let's see here. I'll grab it. I'll post a link here. It's one of them. I'll post the links to 3D guys. You guys have fun. You guys have fun with that. This isn't even all of them. These are just the few I did a bunch more. Yeah, these are all the Richie Rich covers I did them for.
Jesus.
Yeah. I know I did. I was working on the Richie Rich. I was doing covers for this Richie Rich comic. My dad was so proud of me. That's why he loved Richie Rich. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. You know?
Is that what it was? I wondered.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I did one for my Game Fan issue just because I was like 3D. But I don't have the Critter one. It's somewhere on a hard drive, but whatever. I try not to promote that guy's stuff too much because I don't like him anymore. You know? Not a fan. Not a fan.
How do you really feel?
He's already apologized to me twice in my lifetime for being a dick, you know. And I'm like, how about we just not do a third one and I just don't talk to you anymore? You know,
Jesus.
I'll save you the trouble. Yeah, I don't like the guy. He tried to punk me into designing something like the last time we talked. It was funny. He's like, well, you said you would do it. I'm like, I'm telling you now I won't. I don't care if I told you I'd do it. Like, you didn't pay me. I'm not doing it. I don't feel like doing it. What am I going to do? Not my problem.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Where's the contract I signed again?
Right. Like, no, I just don't want to do it, man. Yeah, they came out great. I just wish I remember how. I just remember like I would come up with like several levels, you know, and it really worked good around 3 or 4, but you could subtly get like an extra 2 or 3, and then you could airbrush them to. You could do like 4 versions of them, and then through masking I could block out different sections, you know, and then
Oh,
airbrush
okay, yeah.
together in masks and Photoshop to get, yeah, to get the depth up, you know.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So they came out pretty well. There's another snow one that's not on there, and the snow one's nice. That one really came out because it was like this canyon. So you get these like these yetis are like gonna attack kind of thing, you know. So I got the depth of the snow yetis down, but whatever.
Nah, I'm fucking. I gotta go check those out. I gotta just spend like a couple of days fucking around on your DeviantArt page, going through shit though.
I think everything's up there. I've never deleted anything since 2005. Like it's, you know, like I'm like, people are like, oh, just take off the stuff you don't want people to see. I'm like, no, I just leave everything up. You know, it's DeviantArt. Who cares? It's not really organized anyway. You know. Plus,
Yeah,
I like the
Deviant.
timestamps. You know.
Yeah, like Deviant's kind of like where people just go to like actually look at the art as opposed to Instagram where you really gotta like hook people and worry about any of that shit. Like deleting old stuff.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about Deviant is people are like cool with leaving up their older stuff. You can go back like 6-7 years in people's portfolios.
Yeah, it's gonna be 20 years next year.
Jesus Christ.
That's my DVR's 20 years old, bro.
Wow.
What happened? What the hell happened? It's unfair.
Bro, I feel you.
Lauren has a question. Can I ask what kind of brand of pencils am I using? I'm using Polychromos for these color pencils. I have a list of 64, I think. Let me see if I can grab that really quickly. I think I did a video on color pencil. I can send a video link, Lauren. 1 second. Let me search in my videos. I can't remember if it was color pencil or Copic that I did the video, but there are mostly polychromos and a few. What's the one with Prismacolor? But very few.
Prismacolors.
Yeah, mostly like these creamy greens and flesh colors. There's a few of them they just don't make in polychromos. The Faber-Castell. The DeviantArt, did YouTube move its how to search videos? Is normally it's on the top, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
I see.
should
You
be.
just gotta type in there. Oh, you gotta just type whatever. It doesn't have a search thing now. You just type in there.
Oh, of
You know,
course.
like normally the little search icon, like everything
Yeah.
has had since the dawn of time.
Because why would you have that? Why delineate things?
Yeah, I never made a full list of my color pencils. I should though, right? I
Yes, you
should do that.
should.
I'll have to do that.
Because that's my next one that I gotta
Yeah, I'll do
after
that.
after I get this
Word.
distress ink stuff figured out. That's the
What?
next jump I gotta make.
I'm gonna forget. Hold on. I can do that this weekend because that's actually useful. I've had someone else ask me that recently, and I keep forgetting. So let me just quickly write that down. I could. That's an easy video we can do. Make poly uh, color pencil list. You want to join me for that one? Maybe Sunday or something?
Sure.
Yeah, we can do it live so you can see all the. We'll do that really easily.
That'd be great, man.
Oh,
Like I said, that's my next big jump because I'm just getting to the point where like using those fucking goddamn Prismacolors is torturous.
because I made a complete list of my Copic. I only use like 64 colors on the Copics, and on the Polychromos, I think it's around the same. I try to limit, because you can kind of once you start doing too many colors,
Oh, if you don't know what you're doing,
diminishing
or
returns,
if you just get too flashy about it, man, you just
diminishing returns too, So,
well, yeah,
but
it
yeah,
all
yeah,
blends
yeah.
together into like a mush.
Well, yeah, Prismacolors, but not Polychromos, dude.
No,
They're
no, no.
oil
I
based,
don't mean
no
I
mush.
don't mean that weird like texture mush. I just mean like when I look at it, it looks like a
But
mush of colors.
there's a couple different paper stocks I use that are really affordable on the like this right here. This right here was B marker paper. I did this one on, which I like because it's really smooth and glossy. And so I do a lot of light scribbling with my color pencil work. So it picks up every little tick mark,
And I
which I really like.
cannot tell you how amazing this looks in person.
You can see all the textures, right?
Oh my
Right,
God, dude.
yeah.
Like, I wish there was a way to pay. I wish I had the money to pay someone to take a picture of it for a proper print.
It, if I
It's
wanted it smoother,
deserving of that.
I use this Hammer Mill 100-pound cover stock, which I'll have to put that in the video as well. And that's what I did the Sandman, the Lady Death, and the Delirium, whatever her fucking name is, with the orange fishy. I did those on that, and that paper smooths. It's really soft and blendy. And so you don't have to like use mineral oil and shit like that. You can just the paper stock does all the work for you. But I tend to like a lot more of the textures and scribble marks. So I use this stuff. If I'm going to mix media like watercolor and stuff, then I use uh 4-ply uh plate. What's the damn brand? Kansan paper, whatever, the 4-ply paper.
Hanson?
Yeah, whatever. It's the stuff that Alex Ross uses. It's just the 4-ply.
I'm pretty sure it is. Oh no, it's
Brain
not
fart
watercolor.
on
I
the
thought I
top
had
of
it. Oh yeah. I think this might be the smooth Bristol version or whatever. Yeah, this is the smooth.
Yeah, I get the big sheets, the 4-ply
Yeah,
sheets.
this is the smooth stuff right here. But yeah, this is the
No,
Kansan. This is
I
the
don't think
smooth.
it's Kansan though. Hold on.
Isn't it? You said I was. Is that not the one that you were talking about? Because I know you use that like the.
Yeah, I was using that for the saucy stuff,
Oh, that's what it was. We
which
should
I
have
don't
made.
use that
My
anymore. Hold on.
bad. Don't let
But
me say it. Don't pay no
yeah,
attention,
yeah.
guys.
But the paper he uses, it's I'll get it, dude.
Trying to be useful here. I thought I had it sitting next to me. My bad. Because I use just that mixed media shit for so much of my stuff. Can't
Yeah,
see.
it's Strathmore. Sorry, Strathmore 500 series 4-ply. 400 series works too, but the 500 series is better for watercolor, I think. But you know what? What do I know? 400 works. He uses that as well. So whatever they have in stock, if they have 400 or 500, you go with whatever you want to go with. But I use the 4-ply plate, and that's what I did the scud on.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah,
scud,
yeah. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
did the
Yeah,
scud on that
absolutely.
one.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that'll get you the same kind of like build up that this stuff does, but it's on 4-ply, super rigid stuff, so you can paint on it. So yeah. But if I'm just doing straight color pencil, I'll do it on this B marker paper.
Rob's all into his papers. I'm a cheap bastard.
Well, the paper gives the finishing touch. You see what I
Damn
mean?
Skippy, it
So I'm
does.
not like trying to fight or
The paper.
or or
Oh
or,
yeah,
or
no.
press with my fingers. Like that's the thing. Like no pressure when I'm coloring. You know?
Yeah, dude. The you sent along a couple of extra pieces of that tone paper that you were using, and that was really fun. I messed around on one or two of those. That gray.
Yeah, that's good to mix with Copic markers.
Yeah,
The Strathmore tone paper.
yeah.
Yeah, you can use a Strathmore tone. If you want to use Copic markers, that's how I do I do all those caricatures and stuff, all that stuff. So because
Because you sent
skin
it along
tones,
with that Punisher piece. So.
yeah, the skin tones build up really nice on that tone paper.
I just like the way the colors really, really explode too, man.
Oh,
Like you get those like really, really nice neons and whites and shit to pop up just so nice off of there.
I've spent God knows unnecessary amount of money on paper in the last 5 years. My wife is not. She's like, it's enough with the experimenting with paper. No, when it comes to the Kansan, you're right. The XL media paper was what I used to do the saucies on, but I've since switched to I just do it on water. I'm just going to be doing it on regular watercolor paper now
Oh,
because I'm
okay,
doing
so
the
I was
acrylic
okay.
pen. I'm doing the acrylic pen. If I was just doing saucy, the XL media paper works fine, but I'm going to be mixing in I'm doing watercolor as a base with the acrylic pen on top, and so I want like an actual cotton watercolor paper to have that tooth.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
need a tooth for the acrylic pen to grab onto. So yeah, because I did this Venom watercolor once on a just goofing around, dude. I didn't even mean to draw Venom. I just kind of I was drawing something bulky, and I'm like, oh, I'll make it a Venom. But I did on this 100-pound watercolor paper, and or 300 whatever 300 GSM, and yeah, I like the way it came out. But like I tried to put color pencil over it, and it just the final piece came out, but it didn't have the scribbly finish that it's how I naturally color.
Yeah.
So I have found that I can get that effect instead of color pencil. I can get it with the acrylic pens and ballpoint, you know,
Mm-hmm.
on the water. So that's kind of what I'm going to be practicing this Saturday. I'm going to be doing that. Do that
Nice.
live. Yeah. So
You've been man just like jumping and jumping and jumping. Those remarks are looking killer.
oh yeah, thanks. Those are pretty basic stuff, but
Well, learning
yeah.
how to do I don't know what I
No
learning how to
no one
do
really
these
does them live though, right? Like it's a pain to find any information on.
exactly, yeah, and like getting them to look properly. Like the only guy that I know of that does them live is Tony Rodriguez. He does Tone's got a lot of shit. Whenever he pops up live, he'll do them.
Yeah.
But he does like a lot of Funko Pops and shit too.
But that's like my really easy version of the remark. My next version, the level up from that is when I use gesso.
I know you were fucking telling me about
Yeah.
that, and I was like, of course, Rob has to
And
take
those
the
come out really nice.
level.
Those come out I'd say 2 times, 3 times better than that,
I
you know.
fucking bet.
Just don't have time to do anything right now, you know. Like this whole
Yeah,
time I've been working on one panel, you know. Like
really?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I get handed things and I'm like, I don't know how to do that, you know? Like, so
I'm used to you, like, really. I'm used to you just cruising, man. I mean, I
oh
know
no,
it.
there's no cruising on this comic, bro. Like every
Well,
now and then I get a
yeah,
couple
comparatively.
pages.
Sorry.
I get a couple pages of some talking heads, and I'm like, ah, perfect. 4 pages. And then it's like, oh no, giant something or other destroys a something or other. And you're like, what? You know, and then 5 of these dudes show up, and you're like, what? Like, you know, and then Todd's like, oh boy, just find a shape and put a thing in. I'm like, no, man, find a shape and put you know, like there's 7 things going on here. Hey, how about just don't write that? Like, all right, you know? And so it's like, I gotta make it work, but it also can't look dumb, you know.
That's the kiss of death.
This is so everyone has their lot in life, but it's just like, all right, you know.
But I didn't mean that. That came out wrong. Like, I did not mean to say that you were ever on cruise control on that book, because that's not what I mean. But like, I'm just used to, like, I'm so slow when I ink, dude. Well, you've seen me, man. Like, with my hands and my shakes and shit, I sit and I look and I like spin my paper and I gotta blah blah blah. And dude, with you, it's always I just watch you just cranking along. I think that's a better word. You're just constantly working.
No, I'm constantly working, but sometimes I'm working on one thing for an inordinate amount of time, you know? And it's like, all right, dude, you know. So
I mean, I guess. Well, I would say it can't be helped, but
look,
if a
at the end of the
writer
day,
was a little bit more respectful,
well, let's not pick a fight, you know, like that. But
I
and then
didn't.
you know, they're gonna be like,
I
oh,
said
Rome's got some shit to say. Then I'm gonna hear about it. You know what I
I
mean?
got nothing. I got nothing bad to say
I'll be
about
like,
him.
Uncle Jerk said that. I didn't say nothing. But
Exactly.
and you know, but like my, I don't know, my strength really is like when you want me to draw like a bedroom with a ton of things in there, I'll do that. No problem. You know, but when it's like draw like several spawns fighting, is I don't, you know, like okay, what do you do with all the caves?
Oh my god.
You see what I mean? When you do that kind of stuff, even if it's just like when I did the cover for issue 3, right? And it's the
No.
X-Force homage.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah,
the
yeah.
one of them's got a trench coat and 2 of them have capes, right? Essentially. So I got rid of one cape by giving Spawn Commando Spawn. So like put the cape around his neck, right? That gets rid of one cape. The trench coat part, I was able to like pull behind characters, so that bought me some. And then the medieval spawn cape, I had to find a unique way of drawing that. I did a Stephen Platt. I did a Stephen Platt style cape. That's an homage. There's a little bit of Stephen Platt in that medieval spawn on the cover if you look for it.
Nice.
Yeah. Even to the way we're in like you remember on like Prophet issue 9 when he's fighting Chapel on the cover, there's a way he would draw like on the edges like these little like I don't know what you call it like flash marks or something coming off them somehow. I don't know how you describe it. It's
Yes.
almost like
Yeah. Yeah.
ricochets.
Yeah.
That there's ricochets on them for no reason, right? They're not being hit with anything, but there's ricochets coming off. Makes it look
Gotta have
dynamic.
lines. Gotta have
Yeah.
lines.
So medieval spawn on that cover has the Platt ricochets. Like,
Everything is an Easter egg with you.
no, I know, right?
It's a Platt cape. Of course it is.
Yeah, of course it is. All the guys in the Liefeld forum haven't picked up on that one yet, you know. They were just like, "Yeah, well, Liefeld's is easier to read." I'm like, Liefeld's doesn't have 5 guys with the same color scheme. Like, and most of them are kind of naked on that cover. My guys are all wearing spikes, and you know what I mean. Like, it's not. It's a little different, guys.
Slightly.
You know. But I just go, you're right. You know who? I always defer. I'm like, well, who can compete with the greatest? You know, like I'm not gonna. You know, I thought they should just be like, hey, thanks for homage and Rob, because no one ever does.
Like,
Nope.
hey, cool, an homage to something we care about. Don't see that a
Yeah.
lot, but oh,
Yeah.
no,
I know.
it's the
Right.
internet, so they got to pick it apart and talk some shit.
Yeah. Right. You know.
Not that I would
And,
know anything
and I
about
got it
that.
in a
I'm
Spawn
so
comic, not
pumped.
like not like my own image comic I'm publishing. I got it in a. Oh, never mind, guys. You know what I mean? Like, how many people has anybody ever homaged a Liefeld cover in Spawn before me?
No, I don't think so.
So
That
you see what I'm saying? Like, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess Todd did though. No, Todd did because he did the Youngblood issue 1, right?
Oh, you're right. For the
Todd beat me on
for
that
all
one.
those that for that homage series, you're totally right. Yeah.
Got me on that one. So there you go.
I had forgotten about those.
I know someone's gonna be like, Rob, you're not so Todd did it for you. Got me. You got. I figured.
I
Caught
remember.
myself. Caught myself. For it. It's why I'm not. I'm an unoriginal ripoff. You got me, guys. You got me. No original idea.
Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it.
Simpsons did it. It's exactly what that is.
It seems like that's sad to me. Like I think of more South Park quotes than I do Simpsons quotes at this point, and I don't even like that show.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Brad Bird left. Brad Bird was head of the Simpsons story department until like season 4 or 5, and he leaves to go do Iron Giant, and then Simpsons turned into what Simpsons turned into.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to have my animation. The guy who taught me animation in college worked with Brad Bird.
Mm-hmm.
I think on Family Dog. On Family Dog. If you remember Family Dog,
Yes.
only did 1 season. Good show,
I
really
was
good
gonna say
show.
it didn't
Yeah,
last long, but yeah.
yeah. And so he had all like Brad Bird's like story notes, like on like there was like all these Bibles that Brad would draw up for Simpsons, like how to block stuff, you know, how to compose certain that what not to do, those kinds of things. They
Mhm.
did eventually. They went on the internet like a couple years later, but he had them like, you know, it was like hidden knowledge when I got it, you know. But and I only knew Brad Bird's name from the Iron Giant. I was like, oh shit, it's the Iron Giant guy. He's like, yeah, he used to work on Family Dog with me. I was like, oh shit, I did not know that.
God, what a good movie.
Yeah. Well, I stand. I mean, I 100% like if you look at the way they designed the humans in Family Guy, I mean, Iron Giant, and then you go to Incredibles, you can see how Pixar designed their humans. You know, it's right there in the Iron Giant. That's the Pixar human style.
Oh wow,
Yeah, go
weird.
look at it. Yeah, they just because they built those model sheets in Iron Giant to match to blend in with the 3D model because they were going to do the giant as 3D. So they wanted the characters to be as 3 dimensional as possible, even though they were 2D drawings. So they kind of had a lot of it figured out. So when he goes through the Incredibles, they just took all that stuff and then that's how they modeled the 3D humans. You know?
That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because that's what they were stressing about their humans, you know.
Yeah. And they're a really unique design.
Yeah, but they had just inadvertently done a lot of that R&D on that film, you know, because it needed to blend in with the 3D model. And they weren't going to be able to use like big airbrushing techniques like they did on Roger Rabbit, you know?
Oh,
So
okay.
they
Yeah,
just
yeah,
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 yeah. Which is how they did that. They did a lot of airbrushing on that. They
yeah.
just didn't have that kind of budget. So their way around it was just to art design for it, you know? Think about the characters as three-dimensionally as possible. You know, so a lot of those figures are based on Milt Kahl's kind of art style, you know, who was probably the most three-dimensional of the Disney artists back in the day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially if you look at his design. I mean, just from start to finish, there was nobody else that really approached the 3D design like him back at Disney.
Yeah. I mean, especially those hands, right? And so the hands in
Oh,
all of Iron Giant are Milt Kahl hands, like 100%. Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck you did that back in the day at places like Disney.
From what I understand with Milt Kahl, he could just do it without trying. He was one of those guys, you know, just
Bastard.
built in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he knew it. He was like, yeah, I know. Just naturally talented. Son of a bitch.
It's just what I do. I draw. I draw well.
Yeah.
They're out there. Certainly ain't me.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Anything I ever get that looks decent, I fucking have to bust my ass on. I love watching those old. I was just watching like a bunch of the old Disney promotional videos from like back in the 50s and 60s where they were like walking you through the studio, showing you all the guys doing the backgrounds and all of the fucking paintings and stuff. Just seeing the variations in style and all the crazy stuff that was going on back then in animation. So
Yeah,
amazing.
I was a really big fan of Freddie Moore, uh, Mark Davis, and Milt Kahl.
Okay.
You know,
Yep. Yep.
those are probably my dudes. You know, I mean, Mark Davis is single-handedly pretty much responsible for giving us the best Disney rides. You know, I mean, it's
Yeah.
figuring out how to tell stories in one scene. I mean, you can get the Mark Davis. There's this really cool 2-book set. It's not cheap on Amazon, the Mark Davis collection. You know, and it's just got tons of interviews with him. But
Mhm.
like he walks through how he designed Pirates of the Caribbean, and you know, the last thing I think he worked on was on a mansion or some shit like that. But I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But he designed like all that stuff at Disneyland. You know, he left the animation and went to that. You know, with Walt, and he was the one who sort of designed how to figure out how to tell a story through all those One Piece, you know, settings. You know,
That's
and just
such.
telling a story in one drawing, dude. Like if you, I mean, I constantly study that. You know, and especially like around when we were first uh, when I was doing ideation on Crash 5 is when I was like, I gotta learn this because I gotta sell my ideas in one drawing to these people. Yeah. You know, like you can't just pitch them on things. You have to like sell it in one thing. And so like that's what I was really studying, you know.
Yeah, that's
And
something that's always blown me away about your work is how you do have the ability to tell like a really concise story inside of a single image.
if
It's
well, it's not as good as Mark Davis, but that's the goal, you know.
well, I
Mm.
mean, like I have hundreds of pieces of original art, and a lot of guys know me and stuff, but I've never gotten a piece or looked at a piece that legit like brought tears to my eyes. You know, like when I got that piece, like the piece that you're, that's playing, behind you, like when I got that piece, I legit like I choked up. Like I mean, it's everything about it is a self-contained story. It if you know my channel, if you've listened to me, every single detail on that speaks like in immeasurably about me as a person. I don't have a single other piece that does that well.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I mean, like that. That's why I think like some people, some of the reviews I got on Spawn, they're like, "Oh, it feels like it's kind of a gimmick." I'm like, "No, I assure you, what I'm doing is not a gimmick."
I assure
Like,
you.
yeah, and I could take this whole, I could take this even further, if how do I say this? I don't say if I was allowed to. That's not quite the thing, but there are things I could do that are just not par for the course for comics. It's very difficult sometimes to get across innovative ideas, So it's like you have to like pick and choose. So like I could, there's things I want to do, So I'm hoping that you build up cachet, right, in this industry. Apparently, like that's kind of like how it works, right? They got to get comfortable, you
Yeah,
know, and
unfortunately.
that's just kind of how it works, So my hope is, if we're going to do another one, I'll be able to work in a couple more unique things, you know, as we go along visually. I have no desire to just sit here and spit out a bunch of like, oh, here's me drawing things you've already owned, Like I really do have like legitimate ideas on how to like do different stuff, but it's just so hard to get even what I look. My goal with this series was just to get the damn style across the table to the finish line. You know what I mean? If I could do a fully stylized, somewhere between a Ren and Stimpy cartoon and a superhero comic, if I can get that across the table, that's more than enough for one fucking go.
Yeah, especially on Spawn, man. Like that's like really sliding it in there, Like
I can tell you what, I am the first person to ever do in a Spawn comic. I put the damn video game in the comic.
I also believe you're the first guy to make fun of a Spawn movie inside of a Spawn comic.
Okay.
Which,
John Layman wrote that one. I could take no credit for that line.
God damn it! I just want to shake that guy's hand. That shit had me rolling.
Yeah, John.
Thank God someone said it.
We were at lunch and John was like, "Hey, I was afraid about it, but apparently Todd has a good sense of humor." They're like, "No, man, that's great," So yeah, that came out awesome. I mean, he kind of made fun of himself with that in the first series. Too, and not as clever as that one, but just in terms of like Todd's in the first series pitching the movie at Comic-Con, So, um, yeah, but that particular sequence, he did a good job of like, there's a part where like Spawn lifts up Chibi and hangs him upside down. So I wanted this thing when I drew it. I was like, he's held over the building. I rotated the camera so the next panel he's looks like he's standing up. It's the Dark Knight maneuver, right? Remember in the Dark Knight when Heath Ledger's talking and the camera slowly rotates so it looks like he's standing up,
Oh
like
yeah.
that was an homage to that. And then John actually flipped the word balloons upside down on the panel above it. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's clever. I wouldn't have thought of that.
I just remember reading that fucking panel and dying. I'm glad Todd has a good fucking sense of humor about that shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I put him on pizza boxes. I mean, Todd Father's Pizza. I've been wanting to do that gag for 30 years.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and they're all orange boxes too. He's got his face on there, Somebody did some fan art. They're like, check it out. I had to draw it. And I'm like, that's what I want. That's what I want to see.
This was a nice reading a fucking Spawn series that I can enjoy.
I appreciate that. Someone did there's not a lot of reviews up, like this is slowly gaining speed, but it came across my Google alerts, someone on a YouTube video. They just go over comics every week, and one guy was reviewing the first issue. and he was like, you know what? I could just replace. I can replace all the Spawn books and just read this one. I was like, oh, you're too kind. I'm never gonna be able to do this monthly. Don't do that. Like, like this is not something we're gonna do every month here, folks. You know, like,
No.
yeah, it's not possible. Not with me at least. You know.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
Your art doesn't just materialize like that. I can't.
I wish, man. I really wish. You know, but whatever. You know, like I said, I'm willing to keep doing it as long as they're willing to keep on doing it. You
Hopefully hopefully they stick with you, brother.
know.
I don't think it has anywhere to go but up. With that, no.
Famous
That's
last words, right?
it,
What are you
well,
doing?
no, that was like supposed to be a compliment, but then I was like, that would
Yeah, it's a
imply
little
that
bit
it's
little
really,
backhand.
really low now.
Can't get any
Way to
worse than
go.
this, Rob.
Like, way to go, fucking tired brain.
That's okay. Don't worry. In the next series, no one has feet. You know, that's the conspiracy. They all other feet.
Oh my god, dude. The Liefeld conspiracy.
It's all lies.
I would pay good money. Read that shit. It's the whole comic of somebody obscuring feet purposefully throughout the comic.
Well, if you look on my third cover on the covered issue 3, the Commando Spawn, his foot goes into the ground. He
You
doesn't
were
actually have a
telling
foot.
me you did the
Yeah,
disappearing fucking foot.
yeah, on purpose.
Yeah, like there is been countless times when I've been going back to check out like those 90s books for this or that or whatever reason, you know. And you like hit panels where dudes' legs look like fucking taffy and they're just like their feet are gone. Like, man.
Yeah, but you know, it moves. I think the point of that was to make it move, you know, and it does move. Like that's what I like about it. It's not stiff, you know.
Sometimes when it's done purposefully, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm talking
You know,
about
Life
when
has some great
like,
run poses if you look, and then those earlier issues, you know what I mean? Like they really do work. I know I've swiped a few and put them in the book. Like they do work.
they do work.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. When you be like, oh, that looks, yeah. Well, I swiped out. That's a cable pose, you know. But like, just to kind of prove, you know, like, but I mean, yeah, you know, you definitely as the image years wane on, it gets a little less and a little less and a little, you know.
Yeah, it's just like people just stopped at some point, even attempting. Okay, like okay, guys, this getting a little bit excessive, but it's just funny to see, like, because I didn't notice any of that when I was a kid.
I was a little older than you, so I noticed, you know. But I didn't like. I don't know. I liked. I could tell when the effort was and wasn't being put in. You know, regardless of the style. You know, I was all for the style. I just was making certain the effort was being put in because you know they weren't cheap books. You know, and so
No,
when
they
it was
were not.
like when it was like the effort wasn't being put in, I was like, well, what are we doing this all for? You know. I thought they were like showing off comics, like to show off what you could do, you know.
I always liked when I was a kid, I always loved books that were like that. That were just people showing off. And like the older I've gotten, you know, the more I've gravitated towards guys who have like real heavy fundamentals and shit. But yeah, definitely as a kid, I was all about that. Give me that style. If you got some fucking love, got a little bit of style, I'm down. That's how I fell in love with dudes like Splat. because even as a kid, his shit looked weird.
Yeah, I loved it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved it, but it looked weird. It's like, man, this is like Sam Keith and Rob Liefeld fucking had a bastard child and dialed that motherfucker up to 11.
I got the Wizard poster right here on the wall.
Oh, that Wizard 100.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, I got a
Yeah, all the
challenge.
bullet shells, the bullet shell challenge or whatever.
I got challenged on the splat on like this splat appreciation board after they saw that Moon Knight. And they were like, man, that's really good. I was like, hey, you should check out this old Moon Knight I did that's from his rejected MCP pages. Cause that shit was insane. And they were like, oh yeah, well, you know, nobody will take on. Then I was like, fuck you, I'll do the fucking Wizard 100 cover. So I'm gonna fucking do a recreation.
No, this isn't the Wizard 100. I'm talking about the Wizard 35.
I said 100,
yeah,
dude. Totally talking about you're talking about the gatefold fold out with
the bullet shells with
yeah,
Bad
with
Rock
bullet
and
shells everywhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
I said 100, just fucking yeah.
Yeah. I think it was issue 35.
I totally no. I don't even know why I don't know why the fuck I was thinking that was an anniversary issue.
No, man, they just did it on some random month. Hey, welcome to this month. Now he's got this fucking crazy poster. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm
have
sure
at it, Haas.
I'm sure that was like 2 years after they commissioned the piece, and that was like the month that fucking Splat.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right on that one. We had planned on having it for Wizard 25, but we didn't get it until 35,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the most sane explanation of that cover I think I've ever heard. Like,
remember that awesome Wizard 25 cover we fucking it's here.
Well, Liefeld did the 25 cover. He may have made up the difference.
That wouldn't actually surprise me at all.
Yeah. That's the Youngblood issue. That's the one my friends decided to shoplift from my comic shop when they first got bought out by this new guy. And I'm in there, and he goes, "Hey man, where'd that wizard go?" And then they put it back when he wasn't looking. And he's like, "Oh, it just magically fucking reappeared." The guy's from New York, you know. He's like, "I'm not putting up with this shit." And I'm like, "What do you fuck you guys?" First off, never steal from the comic shop. I could never. This blew my mind, you know. I was like, let alone don't even do that shit when I'm around. Like, I this is where I get my comics, man. Like what do you,
don't fuck with my lifeline.
Yeah. Go rip off TG and Y. Leave the fucking comic shop alone. So it took me, I had to do soup Nazi treatment when I went in there for like 3 or 4 months, right? To make up. So I'd go in there, I'd walk, and him and his wife were looking at me, it's Pat and Adele. And they just look at me when I walk in. I'd walk over, pick up my issue Spawn, because I didn't know what a pull list was at the time, you know? And I didn't understand this concept. And I'd, you know, hold it up the whole time, walk over, set it down, put my $2 down, or $2.50, and thank you very much, you know, and then leave. And then I could repeat that for like 6 months, dude. You know.
God. Well, at least they actually did something. That's how they treated me at my local shop for quite a while, just because I was poor. They're like right next to a campus.
Well, they were good people. I put them in the book, or I put Pat on a tombstone in issue 1. It says Pat Duffy, and then Action City Comics is on it's on one of the boxes.
Yeah, Dennis
on the con spread.
Dennis is not a good man.
No, Pat was a good dude.
Yeah,
Last time I saw him, he was at it was at Comic-Con when I was at the Game Fan booth in 2011. And we had a really nice booth set up with just my art on there, like the enslaved cover and stuff I did.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I had this booth made me look like $1 million, you know, like my boss did it right that year, because I was there, I had to run the booth, you know, so he at least, and I did all the graphics for it, so you know, I got to make sure it all had my kind of look to it, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I looked like $1 million to everyone who showed up, you know. And so he just looks up, looks down at me, looks up, and he goes, Rob, and I'm like, Pat, you know. So he's like, you did it, you did it. And I'm like, well, I mean, anyone can buy a booth, really, you know, like, but yeah.
That's awesome.
My goal is if I can get like more stores in a sequel, I'll put them in the book, you know. I didn't want to put them in the con. I wanted to put them in an actual store.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I like eventually developed like the guy who ran the shop liked me a lot after a while, but like he used to follow me around at the 25-cent bins, and like I don't even know if there's like a way of describing how humiliating that is. Like,
Oh, you're gonna steal from the 25-cent bins, dude?
yeah, man, like,
Oh, that's tough.
dude, like, really? You know, like, I was a really soft-spoken kid, man. Like, I never would have fucking done that or anything. It really fucking messed me up. I didn't know how
I
to
don't
act.
like being accused of being a thief, dude. It's something that I don't do it. You know what I mean? So it's like I have a hard time with that one. You know.
Well, and it was like I got where he was coming from. They're like right across the street from the campus and all of this and that. And I tried to be cool for a while, but dude, it
No
hurt.
one wants to look poor.
Yeah, dude, like it
I think
hurt.
that's the bigger issue, right? You're like, oh no, I look poor, you know?
Like I'm not like,
Yeah.
looking at your wall books. I'm not even going through your bins because I can see you looking at me. Like I'm legit just going to your 25-cent bins and you're following me around. Like, how much of a piece of shit do you think I am? That much? Okay. Well, damn. And it was really bad because my dad used to spend a whole shit ton of time at the record store uh, right across the way. So I'd like have nothing to do but go into the comic shop, and it was just fucking humiliating. And then years
Yeah.
later, I got to like know the guy, and like, because well, I guess it wasn't too long after that or whatever, but I was volunteering there, and he liked me, so he would let me read his personal comics and this and that. And I was like, oh, well, he's not that bad of a guy. And then I would see how he would get his collections from these like widows and shit. And I was like, oh my God, you're a fucking evil bastard. No wonder you followed me around at the 25-cent bins. He did let me read some badass shit, though. I'll say that.
Dude, there's some little fucking thing I do sometimes when I go to click outside of Photoshop that closes Photoshop. It doesn't crash it. It literally closes it because it wants to like save files, you know? And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
cannot figure out what does that. Like, just happened. Luckily, I'd saved my work. Sometimes, man, I lose work that way. To this day, I'm like, I've been using this fucking program since '95. You think, you know?
Photoshop is a fickle beast, my friend. Strange, fickle beast.
I want to prevent closing it at all. Like,
Like, just
you know,
always have it open.
I want to stop closing the program unless I force quit it, you know?
That actually
Delete,
sounds like a setting they
delete,
should implement.
delete, delete. I'm gonna delete close, close. I'm deleting as many of these things as I can from the keyboard shortcuts. I deleted exit.
Yeah, I had to go through and reset a bunch of all of that shit because my program kept closing. I couldn't figure out why too. It doesn't do it anymore, thankfully, though. But I was always terrible at shortcuts and shit, so I always figured I was just being a dumbass and hitting a fucking wrong button.
It's like about. Can you do 30 minutes?
What's up?
Can you do another 30 minutes? And then
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
wrap
sure.
it up. I was hoping to be done with this panel tonight. It took me this whole time to get it sort of set up. That makes sense. And it's not because we're talking. I mean, I definitely lost an hour. I know that much, but that wasn't going to solve problems.
Well, yeah, that sucked.
Mm.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. I didn't even think about that setting you back so fucking bad.
Yeah, well,
Gotta love technology. But yeah, man, I'm fucking definitely down. I'm actually not feeling awful tonight, and got nothing to do tomorrow. So,
Oh, day off tomorrow?
yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I got these weird weeks because of my wife's schedule. I work totally around her since she makes like 5 times what I do. Whenever she ain't working, I'm working.
Tomorrow's fun dinner night. I got to make something. They're going to make, my wife liked those turkey bacon bravos at Panera. But then during COVID, they like tripled their prices for like less half the sandwich and shit.
Jesus.
You know, it was like $30 for 2 sandwiches. I'm like, fuck
Holy
that, dude. Yeah, it's
fuck.
ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. Used to be $12, now it's 30.
Holy
So
jeez.
I was like, come on, man. It's not a $30 sandwich, you know? I'm like, look, we don't have kids, so you know, we got fun money, but I'm like, I just fundamentally, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, man.
so I've
Screw
reverse engineered that shit, you know, and it's way better
that.
now because you know what I mean. I got better bacon. I got the whole tomato, basil, mayo, blah 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 blah. And instead of using mayo, I actually use buttermilk ranch, so it's got a nice tang to it and shit. So
Ooh.
yeah. The only thing I don't do is make the bread from scratch, but they stopped making the bread from scratch, so I figure that's a net neutral there, you know. So I think tomorrow I'll make turkey bravos.
Damn, man. I'm fucking like I know I'm like getting salty about days on, days off with my wife because I hear people talk about that and I'm like, I would just like to have a slice of pizza with my wife.
Oh, right, because you guys alternate, right?
Oh yeah, whenever she's not working, I'm working, and we each do like I do usually 10 or 11 hour days, and she does 12 to 16. So like legit, we're just
Yeah, that's
exhausted.
tough, man.
Oh, dude, it's been 4.5 years like this. I swear to God, like it was so funny. I was at work one day and somebody was talking about making dinner with their wife, and I was like, "How about you just shut the fuck up, Jerry?" He was like, "What?" It's like some of us don't get to fucking see our families, motherfucker. And I was like, "I'm sorry. That was horrible. I'm so glad you had a good night. I'm gonna go outside and be angry
I know it
somewhere
sucks because
else."
there's only so much. You know, we only have so much time on the earth anyway. You know, it's like
Yeah, but it's like we just can't afford it right now. And with the kids, like I refuse for her to live like I lived. So if I gotta give up a little bit, I still get to see her. Even though my wife is gone, I get to see my kids. So I'm okay. Sucks, but I'm not missing out on those years. I'm not missing out on time with her. So
oh yeah, 100%, dude, 100%.
as long as I can give her what she needs and she still gets to see me, I figure it's a win.
It's a win.
I try to tell myself that.
It's a mio winio.
Dude. So like you're old enough. Do you remember when the fucking Super Mario's live action TV series started, bro?
Oh yeah. Super Mario Super Show.
Yeah. So have you ever seen the first, I think it's the first episode. It's because Lou Albano, right?
Lou Albano was Mario. Yes.
Yeah, and Luigi walks in, and I have no clue how it got past censors, but you remember how bad his accent was? And like
Yeah.
he walks in and he's like, "Fuck you, Luigi." And dude, it is in the DVD releases they did a few years ago. I was
Hilarious.
dying, dude. I was like, "Oh my god, still no one has caught that? What the fuck?"
I just remember Winston from Ghostbusters was on an episode. It was the one that stuck with me. He does like a Ghostbusters bit.
Ernie Hudson, man.
Ernie Hudson, yeah.
God damn it, I love Ernie Hudson.
Yeah. I'm surprised Marvel hasn't put him in the MCU.
Nobody will use him for fucking anything because he was second training Ghostbusters and everybody fucking turned him into Ernie Hudson. Dude should have had a fucking good career. Should have had a good career. Did not.
Ron says $15 for 6 wings. Yeah, I mean, just make the wings. You know what I mean? Get an air fryer, spend $100, and then just let the air fryer do the work for you. Or do what I used to do. I mean, I still do it now when I want to make quick wings. You just make a baking soda mix, and put them in the oven, and you'll get them nice and crispy without having to deep fry them.
I didn't think I'd use my air fryer. These things are nice as shit.
Yeah, I use it all the time, man. Like usually for like, I mean, just even just toast and shit. Like it's just a faster way.
Yeah,
And
man.
if you put a bagel on there with a good slice of like Tillamook cheese or something, even at 6 minutes on 360, it will perfectly gooey up all the cheese, and get that just the right amount of caramelization on it, and it still stays soft, the bagel. So
Yeah, I was gonna say I really like the way it bakes breads for sure, man. I'm a bread guy and like reheating bread is a bitch. It turns so gross.
oh, 100%. That alone, you can't really. And honestly, man, if you get those like frozen fries that are like store crisp, where they have the pre-oil on them, and put them in there, it's just as good as any takeout fry, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you can't tell any difference.
No, I fucking dig putting the I love getting those rally fries and sticking them in there. I'm addicted to them fuckers.
Yeah, I remember when they closed out all the rallies in California. It bummed me out to no end.
Same here, dude. They just disappeared down here and I was like, "No."
Remember their tacos that were like nacho cheese were in them?
Yes.
It was the melted cheese. It's hardly a taco, but man, it was white people taco. It was so good.
Like, what is this? I don't know, but it's fucking delicious.
I was more of a rallies guy than an In-N-Out guy, um, in the early '90s until
Okay.
rallies went away, and then. I know, right? Some people say sacrilege, but
We didn't have In-N-Out down here, so there was like McDonald's, fucking Burger King, or Rallies.
yeah, you can still get the rallies fries at the store. So
Thank God.
yeah.
I remember the first time I saw those and I was like, yes, that's fucking awesome. But they never tasted quite as good until whenever I got this air fryer. It's the first time I've ever had them where I was like, oh shit.
It's worth the money, I think.
Ours was a gift. I would have never been able to afford one, but ours was a gift. And I was like, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And like, now I'm like, that's awesome. Cook everything in here.
100%.
If I'm not grilling something, that's what I'm doing. I had this dude that follows the channel. He owns like a used bookstore, so every once in a while something cool will come in. He'll pick it up and send it to me. And he was like, he just hit me up the other day. He was like, "You like Mark Schultz, right?" Well, yeah. Like he sent me a fucking complete collection of his Flesk sketchbooks.
Huh.
I never fucking checked those things out, man.
Not familiar with that.
Oh, dude, it's just
Yeah.
like it's like preliminaries and then like a lot of promotional stuff.
Okay.
Dude, they're
Dude,
fucking
has Steve Purcell ever put anything out like that for Sam and Max? Like,
no. Not that
right? Isn't that a travesty? Like,
God, dude, the fucking fact that the trade paperback is $200, man.
he's bringing that back into print. I read that.
Is he?
Yeah. That was a recent thing.
Thank
Yeah.
God.
Gron says Rally's chili was his. Yeah, Rally's chili was really good. Baked potatoes in air fryer, pretty sweet. Yeah, man. I mean, I love to make some chili and then the baked potato because you get the crispy in there. Should not talk about food right before you're supposed to go to sleep. It's going to ruin everything. I'm going to fight that urge to snack.
You're a better man than I.
I mean, you're like eternally thin, dude. I'm still working off my COVID weight. I'm so close. Probably another 12 months I'll be there. But man, it's so harder when you hit 40 something,
Bro, I have the metabolism of a fucking crack addict. Terrible. I eat so much. I would like wish I could gain weight anymore. I used to be a fucking fatty. I grew up and as a fatty and then my metabolism kicked in and now it's just like I'm a fucking rabbit.
Oh no, my buddy, he's the same way. He's in his 40s. He's got lucky.
Yeah, I don't feel quite so lucky when I'm like cutting new notches in my belt half of the time, but I miss my extra weight.
Well, there's nothing worse when you're sitting here drawing and you're like, oh no, I can't lean forward because I'm, it hurts to lean forward. So I've lost so much, but it just takes forever, So it's like it's fine. I'll never put on the weight again. I just made a mistake during COVID. I didn't really think about it, but it was like, when the world was going to shit, I was like, man, popcorn's my friend. So I was eating popcorn that I would make here, just with some oil and low salt, and it wasn't putting butter on it, but an insane amount of carbs apparently. And then my other favorite snack was peanuts and raisins, and I didn't do the calorie count on peanuts.
I was gonna say raisins, fine. Peanuts.
Yeah. So, and you don't really notice yourself. I don't think it's that bad, right? But it was bad. So whatever. I'm almost there, but I was like, there's only so many more years you have to like fuck around with that before it really catches up to you,
Oh yeah. I
So
worry
it's
about
like,
being too small a lot. Diabetes and all types of shit. I wish I wasn't so damn skinny. I wish I could just get a rational goddamn weight. Because
I gotta work down now. So it's a hard one. I know. And that's why I was like, maybe I don't stream for a while. I'm like, there's a lot of streams where no face, Rob. But if you look at the hands, you can see. Yeah.
damn, that's impressive. If you can see it in the hands, that's impressive, Rob.
Yeah. You can see it. You can see it. It just sucks because I may have fluctuated a few times, but back in 2012, I got up to 260, and then I got that back down to 180. One, I got crazy when I got back from the army. I was so afraid of food in America making me fat. I got down to 142. That wasn't good. I'm
Ooh.
6'2", right?
Yeah, I was gonna say you're a big guy,
Yeah.
dude. No.
Yeah, that wasn't a good move. But so now I got it worked out, dude. Like but that's why I was saying like I stop it. I do like 200 squats a day now. And I just do it whenever I leave my office. Anytime I leave my office, I do 50, And so I do between 3 and 4. So between 150 and 200 squats a day. And that
Whew.
keeps the metabolism up. And then every other day I do like a walk with my kettlebell during the summer years, summertime. During the winter, there's enough resistance with the snow. I don't really have to worry about it. But yeah. And that just keeps the metabolism going. Because we're sitting here,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
It should fucking murder my metabolism. Then again, I guess I do. I kind of do take for granted, I work full time and stand and run around basically 11 hours a day, 4 days a week. So
I know you're on your feet at the Arby's, dude. But I'm not. Like
no, that's what I was
it's
just
what I
thinking. I
love the
was like,
Kinko's
man,
job.
I
When I was
don't.
at Kinko's, I was always on my feet.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking. I was
Mm.
like, man, I don't do shit. And then I was like, well, kind of. I guess I do exercise.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought of that until right now. To be very fair, I was like, oh shit. Actually, I guess.
Right. Now you could offset that by snacking at Arby's. That wouldn't do anything, like
Sweet Jesus, dude! If you knew how much I ate at Arby's every day, you'd want to murder me.
Yeah. That's my you remember that movie Defending Your Life
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep, and like they're in purgatory and they could eat whatever they want, no weight, because they're in purgatory. And so everyone just eats what they eat, crazy amounts of food, because no weight. And so I was like, that sounds like joy to Rob. Give me a Fuddruckers, I'll go to purgatory.
Yeah, like everybody at work makes fun of me because they're like, we can't eat any of this shit. You just sit in the fucking back and just hammer this shit away.
Jalapeno popping time.
That is one thing I can't have anymore. After my intestinal blockage, no more fucking spicy
Hey,
foods
you
at
just gotta take the
all.
fun out of everything.
It
What about the
sucks.
seasoned curly fries, right? Barbecues.
Oh yes, dude. I eat the shit out of those, and we got potato cakes back right now, so I'm fucking all about potato cakes, which is
What
just like
what commercial was that? A recent commercial that Arby's did where it was like Heaven's Gate, but with the potato cakes, where it's like a guy doing like like a cult video.
yes.
That is the best commercial I've seen since the Quiznos weird fucking thing, right? Who who homages Heaven's Gate for their ads, dude? Like what is
Yeah, it's like that one is really good. We had like a series of, do not ask me why, but Street Fighter 2 commercials. Uh
Oh, really?
yeah, that were done by an artist that does cardboard animation. They're fucking
I
awesome.
gotta check that out. That sounds awesome.
They are fucking cool. H. John Benjamin was our official spokesman for like 4 years. That shit was hilarious. I love H. John Benjamin. I'm obsessed with that cat.
I don't know who that is.
You watch Archer at all? Well,
No,
obviously you don't. Um,
I don't like the animation.
for
I
the
know.
record, neither do I. But that
Yeah,
show's so fucking funny that the animation is like totally secondary to me, which I
that's what I
so
hear, but I'm biased. I'm like, I can't
no, I'm
look
not
at
trying to
it.
get dude, no, I'm not trying to get you to watch it. I'm just saying that like normally when I see that kind of animation, I literally can't make it 2 minutes into a show. Like I
Because I like the Venture Brothers like that, when they did that Hanna Barbera look.
oh dude, but Venture Brothers is that show is was on
Yeah,
its own little planet.
yeah, I like
I
that.
don't know how Doc Hammer ever pulled that shit off.
Usually, it's they just stayed out of it. Like the suits or whoever cut the checks, you find out they just stay out of it, for whatever reason.
I was gonna say, but I don't know how they
Sometimes
finagle.
right.
I don't know.
Luck. Someone stayed out of it.
Well, I know Ben Edlund went to bat for him really heavily because technically the Venture Brothers universe is the Tick universe too.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Same place. Fucking really crazy, but yeah. Ben Edlund and Doc Hammer, and I can't remember the other guy's name that has such a crazy fucking name too off of that show, but they're all good friends.
Hmm.
And I thought I was making that like this bizarre non-connection for years, and Edlund actually confirmed it in a interview whenever that was, a few years ago.
Well, there's a fun fact.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, this shit makes a lot more fucking sense. It's unofficial, of course, because he doesn't
Right.
own the card comic or anything anymore, I don't believe.
Like he doesn't own the Tick.
Not the comic. He
The
owns the
comic.
character, but not the comic. I don't.
How does he not own the comic?
Okay, so like, do you know about the creation of the Tick, like where the Tick came from?
No. You know what? You know what we should do? We should talk about this on the next one. I have a feeling this could go on an hour.
It's it's not a long
Oh,
story.
okay.
I swear.
If it's a good story, I don't want to cut it short. You know what I mean?
No. It's actually really short.
Okay. No, I don't know anything really about the
Like
creation.
he drew a lot in high school, and he used to go to his local comic shop, and I'm sure you remember them, the bulletin boards that used to be up in the back of the shop where like
Yeah.
people were looking for jobs or selling books or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like he ended up doing a couple of these illustrations for New England Comics for their bulletin board while he was in high school, and he came up with the Tick. And when they started doing their newsletters, maybe like a year after that, he was still in high school, and they had him do Tick comic books as a way to promote their newsletter. So the first ever official Tick comics and first appearances of the Tick are New England comic newsletters, actually.
Huh. So they own it.
I believe they own the comic.
Not the character, but the comic,
the
right?
comic,
Yeah.
the right to publish the comic in perpetuity, basically, as long as they want, and any of the characters therein, with rights splitting and stuff.
Like if they keep it in print, one of those fucking deals.
That's why New England has always kept it in print. It has never gone out of print.
Dicks. Jesse asks, was the Venture blonde guy based on Sid Vicious? One last question for you. Do you know?
The Venture blonde guy. Not that I know of.
Not that he knows.
Not that I know of. Which blonde guy are you talking about? I'm trying to think who would have been based on Sid Vicious. Right?
I don't know.
Because the only guy that I can really think of that's like, I mean, like Brock Sampson, obviously, but that's not no. They had the Johnny Quest doppelganger, whatever stand-in that was all addicted to drugs and
Yeah, no, that was great.
yeah, but that's obviously Johnny Quest.
Right.
I'm trying to think of who he would even be talking about. Been a while since I've sat down and watched the entirety of that series, though. My wife hates it.
And the last time I watched it was during COVID. It's been 3 or 4 years here. The old 2020. All right, man. I'm gonna put a pin in it right here.
Cool, dude.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody. 3 hours tonight, and then would have been 4, but fun. So I'll be back on tomorrow, and I'm sure old Uncle Jerk will be around soon enough.
Oh yeah, I'll be around.
Do this again, and as always, super fun talking to you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, I always appreciate you having me on, man. It's fucking awesome.
And I will put a link in the show description, but do check out Jerk Comics on YouTube and watch all of his fantastic documentaries. My personal favorite, the Sam Keith, tragedy, but you know what I mean. And a second one, check out The Numb by Michael Golden. His Michael Golden series is highly, highly underrated. So definitely check that out. I mean, if you want to see where Todd McFarlane and a lot of dudes got their styles from, Michael Golden would be the guy. So, all right, till next time. Bye, everybody. Say goodbye, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.